Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you may be around the world, and welcome to Splendid Isolation number 252. And this is going to be our last current affairs and politics stream of 2025. So we do have another history stream coming up on Wednesday, which is going to look at a traditional British Christmas. But this will be our last weekend stream. As always, to give people time to join the stream, etc., I'm going to start us off with a tune.
Take up the white man's burden, send forth the best ye breed. Go bind your sons to exile, to serve your captives' need, to wait in heavy harness on flooded folk and wild. Your new gods sullen peoples have devil and have child. Take up the white man's burden, in patience to abide, to veil the threat of terror and check the show of pride. By open speech and simple, 100 times made plain, to seek another's profit and work another's gain. Take up the white man's burden, the savage wars of peace, fill full the mouth of famine and bid the sickness cease. And when your goal is nearest, the end for others sought, what's love that heed and folly, bring all your hopes to naught. Take up the white man's burden, no tawdry rule of kings, but toil of serf and sweeper, the tale of common things. The ports ye shall not enter, the roads ye shall not tread. Go make them with your living and mark them with your dead. Take up the white man's burden and reap his old reward. The blame of those ye better, the hate of those ye guard, the cry of those ye humor, are slowly towards the light. Why brought ye us from bondage, our loved Egyptian night? Take up the white man's burden, ye dare not stoop to less, nor call too loud on freedom to cloak your weariness. By all ye cry or whisper, by all ye leave or do, the silent, sullen people shall weigh your gods and you. Take up the white man's burden, have done with childish days, the lightly profit laurel, the easy ungrudged praise. Come thou to search your manhood through all of thankless years. No age with give or wisdom, the judgment of your peers. Take off the white man's burden through all of thankless years.
And that, of course, was the excellent Chris Gard. If you like good music and you want to listen to a real musician who is on our side of current events and politics, go and look up Chris Gard's channel on YouTube. And you can also find him on X on Twitter. And so, yeah. I was hoping we were going to have a special guest this evening, but there's a bad storm and his internet's not working, so I don't think we're going to get him, sadly. But nonetheless, I would very much wish Morgoth a Merry Christmas. He's an occasional guest on this stream and always very welcome when he can make it. Okay, now, where are we? Let's do that. Sorry, I'm doing my internet boomerisms, guys. And Aubrey Alley's in the chat. Good day, Aubrey Alley. Occasional guest on the stream and a nice American girl. Okay. Now, where are we? Did you have a first topic for this evening, Mitch?
I've only really been paying attention to the Nick Fuentes, Piers Morgan interview, which one way of putting it is to say that you got a boomer generation who are not ready for what happens when you got a whole load of Zoomers and millennials who don't give a damn when all those words are used.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of truth in that. I actually watched a bit of the Piers Morgan interview yesterday for me, which was this morning for everybody else, of course. And Piers Morgan was deliberately pretending he didn't know what per capita average was. You know?
Yeah.
So
they always do this.
Yeah, Piers Morgan was saying, "Oh, what was it? Something like 2/3 of school shooters in America have been white." And so Nick Fuentes kept asking him, and I'm not a big Nick Fuentes fan, don't get me wrong, but he kept saying to him that what's the average per capita of violent crime amongst Black Americans? And obviously, it's like 5 or 6 times as high as it is for white Americans. It just is. And that was the one thing that Piers Morgan just sat there pretending to be a dimbo and not knowing what he was talking about, you know?
Yeah. The funniest bit for me was when he kept calling Nick Fuentes like an incel, saying you need to get laid, and it's like, well, I mean, I think other people take that advice, but with his wife going
oh my God! Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, I see what you're saying there.
Good. I was just to say, good evening, everyone. I've got my lampshade and bar of soap here, so the whole family's here.
Anyway, you're on my channel, okay? And you walk a narrow line a lot. And I do understand what you and Mitch are saying, right? Because Mitch and AI are younger chaps. And I do entirely understand what you're saying. And I laughed when Nick Fuentes, Piers Morgan started on about the Holocaust, as people always bloody well do. And Nick Fuentes turned around and said, "What, is it too soon?" That made me laugh.
I will be honest, because I haven't really watched Nick Fuentes because a lot of his stuff is American, and so I have caught the odd stream. I will say because I watched all the way through. When he said that, I did burst out. I was at work actually, and I did burst out and with a chuckle because that was, I mean, good timing. You cannot deny his timing. It was funny, yeah.
It was funny. Listen, like I said, I am not a huge Nick Fuentes fan. I don't like the whole Catboy boyfriend shit at all. It makes me very suspicious of him. But compared to Piers Morgan, yeah, I'll support him anytime. Compared to Piers Morgan, he was a scumbag.
And also, I mean, also that Danny Finkelstein, who is was he like a Times Telegraph?
Oh, here we go. Yeah,
my mum got starved and my dad got put in a camp.
Yeah, and my great grandma. And there's, I don't know. There's just so many survivors still around today. of something
Yeah,
that happened 80 years ago.
it's funny how you have to really scrape the end of a barrel in order to find like half a dozen like World War II veterans
Well,
these days, but you can always
yeah.
find plenty and plenty of Holocaust survivors. Funny how that works.
I imagine. Oh,
Yeah,
I mean,
I've never worked it out. We can't find many British soldiers or British airmen or British sailors who were alive in those days. But there's survivors of these guys all over the place,
Yeah.
yeah. I think what I mean with Finkelstein. I mean that whole stunt because it's classic. Older generation like boomer generation sort of this when I was watching it, it reminded me of the stunt that was pulled in Question Time with Nick Griffin and with the BNP back in the day. What they would do is they would have like some, I mean, in this case, you'd have like some descendant of a Holocaust survivor or Holocaust or whatever, and they would play this sort of emotional blackmail stuff because it's like, oh, because you want a country which is in the interest of your own national ethnic in group, you're basically like Hitler and the Holocaust too, and the fact that I think it was important that Fuentes and others, particularly Fuentes, that on that laughed at it because this is why America and this is why Europe and Britain at large is in the way it is. It's the reason why our cities is in the way it is, and it's why there is this sense of people within the country, within both countries, of why people have gone to the political extremes. It's because of this, and that whole performance. I mean, quite rightly so. That whole performance by Piers and everything. I mean, that's just trashy tabloid news of the world skullduggery that he used to get up to. I mean, Andrew, correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't he write like a total lying hit piece about British soldiers in Iraq?
Yeah, I think he's done that. He was also
Mm-hmm.
a big shill for the jab. For the jab that's probably killed more people than the bad flu that his COVID has. That sort of thing.
They were spying on the phone records of the people who'd had the families of the soldiers who'd been killed in Afghanistan too, I think.
Yeah. Well, I mean, how's that a surprise? You can be a British soldier who carried out his orders and did his best, older than me in the 1970s even, and still be prosecuted today. Whereas, of course, if you're provisional IRA scum, nothing will happen to you at all. And you can just carry on cheering on 10 million Somalians going into Ireland if you're a Pyro guy, or Sinn Féin, their political wing, which supports unlimited third world immigration into Ireland, by the way. But,
I saw an Irish nationalist account. What was it this morning? Saying it's been 105 years since the torching of Cork City by the British Crown forces, and I was just I was thinking back to like this whole like the Holocaust sort of stuff, like the emotional level blackmail, the emotional blackmail response, because they want you to respond like in a sort of subservient, apologetic way. And I was thinking like I just want to say. It should have been the whole because I don't hate Irish people, but what I was saying was I want to try and get across with basically the reason. Well, number one, the reason it happened is because of there was a series of murders, but I mean it was sort of in the same vein of just who the fuck cares. You got your Irish state, you got your Irish independence. There's Cork now. The reason why there may not be a Cork in 100-year times is because you decided Brits out and 100 million Bob Marleyans in. That's on you. The reason why Ireland is in such a chaotic state as it is because their own Republican government has betrayed them. And for a lot of genuine Irish nationalists, this is probably a very, very sore topic because all that sacrifice 100 years ago on their part is looking like nothing. Is coming to nothing.
Well, look, we've talked about this stuff on this stream quite a bit this year, and I am a supporter of the real Irish nationalists who are against mass failed immigration into Ireland. I absolutely support those guys, and good luck to them. But the Irish nationalists, in air quotes, who really are only anti-British, which is really what the Provisional IRA and Sinn Féin are, those guys I got no time for at all, and they get fucked. Sorry.
Yeah, and also, I mean, it first started when you had these radical progressive laws under Leo Varadkar, you know, like same-sex marriage was like the main thing, but there was other things swept in there, and it was about, you know, like the depossessing like the Catholic Church, for example. A lot of influence that the Catholic Church had within the country, particularly in the early 2000s onwards, collapsed, and you had Irish nationalists who were saying, well, this that's part of old Ireland. This is about, you know, this doesn't represent the Ireland of today. And it's like, hold on a sec. The core like identifier of Irish, what makes, you know, the Irish separate from the rest of Great Britain has always been, and this is from there, I think, is the fact that they are overwhelmingly Roman Catholic, and Britain has been historically Protestant.
Hang on 1 second, please, William Granville. Key Buckley, right? You are not very far from being banned from this channel, because what you put up there is bollocks, frankly, mate. Do you know what? Nonsense. They didn't put the British out of anywhere. The British left because.
Well, isn't there that song where it goes, "Oh, come out, you black and tans, fight us like a man"? So whenever there's a conventional battle that wasn't an ambush, we win. And the only time the Irish actually won wasn't like ambush scenarios.
Yeah. Well, we never really tried fighting them properly. You want an actual war?
Did the RAF go over and bomb Ireland? No.
You want an actual war? Well, we could have given you that. You wouldn't have liked it.
We should have turned Dublin into Gaza City.
Yeah, exactly. If Britain had a victim culture like a certain small Middle Eastern country always does, then we would have like bombed Dublin into the Stone Age.
So oy vey, the Pale was promised to our people, the Norman Anglo-Saxon Norman people, 1,000 years ago.
Thank you, William Granville. I totally agree with you. I mean, am I right in saying, Mitch, that picture I put up for you is Finkelstein?
Yeah, that's him.
Whose name might give you a small clue to his ancestry, and he says you can't be a victim. Is there one group in the whole world that plays victim more than Israel?
Who could it be now?
Yeah, I know. We got to be a little bit careful, guys. We're on YouTube, all right? But yeah, I mean, talk about the pot calling the kettle black.
Can you say that on YouTube now?
I'm not comfortable with this level of noticing. This is like
we mustn't notice anything, guys.
Well, I don't want to. I'm not trying to be controversial. I just say like if that guy's nose was any bigger, he'd be blocking the comment section. So
careful. You'll be saying he wears a small hat next. Be careful. But yeah, no. The future of politics. There is no future in the politics of victimhood if you're a white man. That's what he should have added, of course.
I think there's also this one by Aronovich as well.
Oh, and his name is what, Mitch? Defending white interests can never be right. How can defending white interests never be right? Every other group in the world, including these two people's little tiny group, they all support their own interests.
The lampshade society. I'm joking.
Incidentally, guys, just in case there's a few boomers watching this, right, who don't know, those stories after World War II about lampshades and soap and all the rest of it, they were completely made up.
Yeah, don't forget the wanking machines that killed off 1 million Jews for life.
Yeah.
Oh God, I forgot about that. I mean, okay, so
Wow, I'm kind of glad I don't know what you guys are talking about right now.
so
sorry, you're innocent, Aubrielle. Don't worry.
Mitch and I and Duke during the Nuremberg trials, wasn't the Soviet judge who was present at the trials there? Wasn't he the same judge that was effectively around during the Red Terror within the Soviet
the
Union?
guy who murdered Soviet officers just because Stalin didn't like them. Yeah, absolutely. Same bloke.
Oh well, I believe him. You know, the sort of mad.
He was obviously someone deeply committed to justice. You know. Because
get it. Yeah, I tell you what, the detective work impeccable. I mean,
Mitch, I won't get the pronunciation right, but you will. You know the famous Soviet general from World War II, one of the best Soviet generals as well.
Oh, Rokossovsky.
Yeah, he was arrested. He was arrested by the NKVD, which was the communist secret police.
No way.
Had all his teeth bashed out while he was being interrogated, and when they released him, because in World War II they knew he was a good general, and the Soviets were desperate for good generals to beat the Germans after Operation Barbarossa. He always carried a pistol around with him, and he told his family they're not going to arrest me again. And that pistol was basically to kill himself with if they were going to arrest him again.
Understandable.
Well, I definitely trust the process, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
You guys are all giggles tonight.
Listen, it's our last stream of the year, Aubrielle. This is our Christmas stream, so we're being really Christmassy. Right,
Yeah.
we're being really Christmassy.
Right, I get that. I get it.
So but you know, it's really the Western world is so fucking comical these days that you kind of have to take it that way. I mean, you know, Putin is the new Hitler. He's Putla, and anyone who believes that is a moron. But
I thought Trump was the new Hitler.
Oh well, yeah. There's also Trump's the new. Everyone's always the new Hitler.
We're besieged by Hitlers.
But the thing is, there's no future in the politics of victimhood, unless you happen to be involved with a small Middle Eastern nation and have a certain small hat religion. But
like for example,
or
I mean,
anyone on the left.
Yeah, if you ever want to do a family reunion at your bar mitzvah with a load of lampshades and a bar of soap.
Now look, guys, I don't want to lose my channel on our last stream of 2025, so let's be a little bit.
All I will say is the Germans seem to have really good aim. I mean, I keep hearing from these people that the Germans apparently used to chuck babies up in the air and shoot them with artillery. So I will say the Germans had good.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure Piers Morgan would probably believe that.
Sorry, Mitch. I just had this image of like a German officer using like a VAT system from Fallout.
Clay Pajinski shooting.
Oh dear.
Yeah, it's just insane. These ideas are so fucking ridiculous. I mean, come on, guys, really. And in any case, if you are British, as most of us are here, I seem to remember we fought against those guys actually. But there you go. It's like.
See, whenever you raise that, they say, "Well, it was actually the British that invented concentration camps. We put all the Boers during the war."
No, we did not. That was the Spanish, actually. It was the Spanish in Cuba who invented concentration camps. And you also have... Listen, people have the complete wrong idea about concentration camps anyway. Certainly the
yes,
British ones were not particularly bad anyway, except for the fact that they were run by military officers who varied in competence, and also the Boers were not used to using facilities very close to each other because they all lived on scattered farms. But anyway.
And we had them in America too, didn't we, during World War II?
Oh yeah, you put the Japanese in some, and
right. But
I
mean,
the
they
thing
weren't
is,
treated inhumanely.
No, exactly right. And also, when that happened in South Africa, the Brits sent out a load of women, ladies, to go and look at it, and it caused an enormous stink in Britain, and it was all fixed within a few months. But even the German concentration camps prior to World War II,
careful now,
not many people were killed in them.
Well, that's the big thing, isn't it? If your alternative to these prison camps is you kill everyone, would you rather that?
Right.
Would you rather that we just kill everyone?
Weren't there like Afrikaners that are sending letters like saying thank you to the Brits because with every camps, all their families would be able to move out.
Later in the war, when the Africans started killing isolated women and children in farms.
I don't usually entertain Boer War revisionism, but I did once come across a stat that fucking blew my mind, which was that the rate of deaths amongst the soldiers guarding the camps from the outside was higher than the prisoners inside.
It's quite interesting.
And the same diseases as well, by the way.
It's quite interesting. A few years ago, and this is a person I thought I wouldn't bring up in this conversation, but Jacob Rees-Mogg, actually, he did state on a question time panel, because I remember it very vividly, because it was what actually got me wanted to look into it. He actually was being like, he's saying, actually, he was saying the concentration camps in, or the quote unquote, he said concentration camps, quote unquote, in South Africa was very high standards and obviously nothing like what happened, you mentioned in Spain and such. Or in Germany, Eastern Europe, or even like the gulags in the Soviet Union, and that was something that at that time the rest of the panelists absolutely lost their bloody minds because of course.
But it was absolutely the truth. But
absolutely, and because unfortunately because of the the boom of truth or the post-war narrative, whenever you say the word concentration camps, you have like this cartoonish image in your head of like this of Schindler's List, basically. I mean, that's basically what you have in your head.
Which, by the way, wasn't a concentration camp.
It was a labor camp. It was a labor camp.
I'm not sure how much I can say, but there was there's a young guy at work who's really into his history, a Zoomer. And he went out with some friends to Poland, and he went on one of the camp tours. And before he went out to Auschwitz, I made a joke about how he had to check out the swimming pool. And he's like, there's no swimming pool. And then he comes back, and the first thing he does when he walks into the office, he looks at me, he's like, I saw the swimming pool.
Yep. Richard Hughes is making a good point in the chat here. There were separate death camps. There were about 6, I believe. And one of them was Sobibor. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, another one funniest thing I read was so there was this Polish guy, I think by the name of Witold Pilecki or something like that. Like he broke into Auschwitz and then he went to a Russian gulag and he said he'd rather spend the time with the Germans than in the gulag.
There was actually a really good film. I think it was based on the book. It was called The Way Back. And it was about a group of prisoners in a Siberian gulag, it's like a labor camp.
Brad Pitt's in it, isn't he? Brad Pitt's in that, I think.
I think so. I think I want to say Ed Norton is in it as well, but I might be.
I love Ed Norton.
And that Irish actor who played Alexander in Alexander the
Great, he's definitely in that. Yep.
And they escape and they travel across Siberia to Mongolia, and then they find out that Mongolia has this is in the 20s. So
where do they escape to? William Grenville. Where do they end up when they're eventually safe? I'm
British
pretty sure
India.
It's British India, isn't it?
Yeah, British India. Yeah. Yeah, British
Yes,
India.
indeed.
Because the idea was they were going to go to Mongolia, but Mongolia recently was overthrown by a communist regime and was aligned to Stalin and Stalin's regime in the Soviet Union, so it wasn't safe. So they continued on down, and on their journey they came across churches and even Buddhist temples completely destroyed by the Soviets.
Yeah,
because of course
yeah,
they're
no,
forcing
100%. Look,
state atheism.
one of the things, guys, that is absolutely true and just cannot be denied is that until at least late 1941, Stalin made Adolf Hitler look like a mere amateur messing around in terms of mass murder.
I don't think the two need to be compared. I mean, can't we say like and agree that it's not a competition? They were both pretty shitty people.
I mean, it will be a competition soon enough.
Because it did become a competition.
Wrong.
It did become a competition, Aubrey Ali. Sad.
So,
very sad.
I mean,
I'm not
Aubrey.
sure why it has to be.
No, I know Aubrey. I mean, Aubrey is right in some. So this is the thing. If we were to go in a time machine back to the Soviet Union and Nazi Germany back in time, it would just be a normal state. It'd just be a normal state. There'll be normal problems. You'd have all the things you'd have in a what you expect to be a normal country. You would have to basically act out quite a bit against the regime in those countries, like quite a bit. You'd have to really act out for anything, to go to one of those places, or and I will say that probably with the Soviet Union, depending if you were a kulak or something, so even if you had a cow or a pig or something, you might as well end up in. But usually, excluding the Red Terror, most people
and the Holodomor, don't forget that one. When the Ukrainians had so many people starving to death, women and children on the streets because Stalin had stolen all their grain, and people were literally dying on the streets.
Yeah, and that's even notable Stalin apologist. I think even Fuentes admitted that was a stainless thing, and because the problem that you have, particularly in the Soviet Union, unlike in Germany and other places where you had these radical, regimes, whether they be communist, fascist, or national socialist, is that the Soviet Union did pretty much go to war with a good chunk of their own population, whether it be religious, ethnic, or what have you.
100%. I mean, this is the point we're trying to make here, guys, and I'm pointing this out to YouTube in particular, is we don't like any of these guys particularly, but the idea that one group was particularly evil, whereas other groups were perfectly fine, is just bullshit, basically.
Well, I mean, there is some truth. We were good.
I mean, is that the
we were good.
though,
Adam and we were good. Yes, absolutely.
Is that the argument though that's made that it has to be you're going to
yes, that is exactly Aubrey Ali.
Okay.
That is exactly the argument that is made.
I mean, whenever you talk about history, I mean, we talk about America, right, on the eve of revolution. Now that's an important aspect of American society, but you had mobs going around literally skinning people and pouring hot tar and executing people in the street. Now today, if you were to see that, go back in time and see that, most Americans would be horrified. But that's the reality. There are points in history where there are points in history, and the trouble is because everything is cartoonified and Star Wars and Disneyified to being good, this binary good and evil. I'm fascinated with the Romans. A lot of us are fascinated with the Romans. The Romans, they wiped out freaking Carthage. They wiped out civil societies in the most brutal way. Even their own Italians who rebelled, they were incredible brutal society. And I will say a lot worse proportionally, a lot worse than probably the Soviets and Nazi Germany. If I'm absolutely honest, if you were to judge them on body count numbers,
no. Hang on, God. Hang on.
I would.
William Grenville. 1 second. I am a big fan of the Romans, and they were not as bad as the Soviets. I'm sorry.
No, he's talking about in the amount of people they killed relatively.
on like
There was
on a
a
death
lot.
on a number.
Oh,
numbers.
maybe,
There was-
maybe,
there was-
but
and there was-
I'd even
was-
doubt that if you chuck
oh.
in
Well-
people like Chairman Mao, the
Well, look at- well,
Chinese
there was-
communist
there
guy,
was a
they
lot-
killed way more
Yeah.
than the Romans.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
who
but there
would
was
you
a lot
say
less.
was the cruelest? Sorry.
Well, I was going to say there was a lot less people alive back 2,000 years ago.
Yes,
that they
that's
could.
correct.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
like,
well,
in,
I
like
would
look at what
say,
Hadrian did in Judea. He killed like about a third of the Jews
Yeah.
in Judea.
Yeah, it was like
Just killed.
Caesar, but like Caesar,
Yeah.
they reckon that he killed off a third of the Gauls, enslaved another third, and then the
Yeah.
other third were too cowed from that point onward to
Yeah.
do anything. You know, even when Rome was having a civil war between Augustus, Mark Antony, and what's the other guy, Lepidus.
Woodpit is pointing out that Pol Pot was pretty bad, which he was.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Can I just say, Lothar Sheffield here? He's bringing us a bit back to sanity, and he's saying, but Fred Dibner knocked it down by swinging his bollocks there. Fred Dibner was a great British guy from the 1950s and 60s who used to climb these enormous, great big chimneys that you have in that you used to have in industrial areas of Britain, and he'd go up there, no hard hat or anything like that, and just be on this little platform, 700 feet in the air. Didn't give a shit. He was a good British guy.
Yeah.
Why did he do that?
Because they were sometimes repairing them and sometimes.
Oh,
pulling
I
them
see.
down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that would be very brave to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, he was just a guy who didn't give a shit, you know.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, sorry, Mitch, go on.
I was gonna say, like, with regards to like comparing, like communists and fascists and so on, I will say, like, you take for example the Gestapo, like, they were basically neighborhood watch compared to the Stasi in East Germany. Like,
Yeah.
it's like I think it's like one Gestapo agent for every like 5,000 people, whereas for the Stasi it's like one agent for every 6 East Germans, or like one informant.
I would say if you want a good example of history of cruelty, William, we've talked about William the Conqueror and the Normans. I mean, the harrying of the North. I mean, on a pure proportional scale, right? That is. I mean, that affected demographics in England for a while. It affected the land, particularly agricultural land in northern England, for decades. I mean, that was incredibly cruel by William and everything, and that was to assert his control. Now, I mean, that's one example, but this is the thing, and I think this is what Nick was trying to get through in the interview, that at some point it's just going to pass into history, and this shouldn't be like this, because the more that you mythologize, and we've talked about this, the way that World War II is represented in film, modern films now that represents World War II, it's basically superheroes. It's superheroes with this good and bad complex, and it's ridiculous. But when you watch films from like the 50s or the probably the late 40s and into the 50s, they don't refer to them as the Nazis. They call them the Bosch or the Germans or the Huns or something like that. Usually the Germans, and it's just treated as just Britain, blighty against Germany, or whatever.
Yeah, you've got to go back if you want to see something more realistic. You've got to go back to 1950s British movies. And the Germans are not called the Nazis; they're called Jerry or the Germans.
I was watching Desert Rats with Richard Burton the other day. It was on television, and it was very much like that. And because in that he actually his character met Rommel. They were very courteous. They were talking about just general things, and and they weren't depicted as like this ultimate evil. It's just like, it's just our enemy. It's just our enemy.
100%.
I don't feel bad for them being referred to as Nazis, though. I mean, what's this? What's the issue?
Well,
I mean, if we're talking about historical actors,
Yeah.
yes, but I mean, I know people that were there at the not in the camps, but that were there when they were freed, and it was not a good. It was not a good place to be.
I think the point is,
all reality, you're having a woman moment here, okay?
No, I'm going by what they said. My great uncle was there, and
yeah, I get
said
it.
he was there, in the army, and said he wouldn't talk about it. It was so bad.
If you stop talking for 5 seconds, I will
Oh, wow.
say what I'm trying
Yep.
to say. Yes, and my grandfather also did the same thing.
Yes, he did.
Right? But I have to point out to you, it was the end of the war. There were all sorts of epidemics going around, and was it good? No, but none of us are saying it was good, and none of us and none of our countrymen had anything to do with doing it.
No,
so why are we still victims of this narrative 80 years later?
Ridiculous. But it's ridiculous. But I'm just saying, like, I don't see what the point is in saying, let's not call them Nazis. I mean, let's be kind or whatever.
But no, we're not trying to do that. We're just trying to go historical.
Okay.
Well,
no one called them that back then.
Yeah, but should we call the American servicemen like Democrat Party Americans because FDR was president?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, because that, or if we call like conservative Britain because Church. I mean, I know it's National Coalition, but point still stands. It'd just be weird. It'd just be like
we should call all the British servicemen National Coalitions. And we should call all the Americans
I don't really know what we're all talking about
FDR Democrats. It's
like, I think this is a silly argument.
What's even the point of the topic? Like the St. Brice's Day massacre was probably based. I'm sorry, but that's just the way it is.
Listen, Adam, and I think the point of the topic is, obviously, you may or may not have heard it when it started, when Mitch brought it up. It was when Fuentes was arguing with that arsehole Piers Morgan. And I think Mitch thinks, and I think most of us probably think, the younger generation in our nations no longer believe this World War II bullshit narrative. They just don't.
Well, it's getting to that point in history because historically, the Nazis were nothing remarkable, really. Like there's been atrocities all throughout history and nobody cares. But these days it's part of our mythology that everything evil gets put onto them. And they're sort of made out to be so much more than what they actually were, really.
I agree.
Hang on. So Mitch said something in the chat just a second ago. Didn't the word Holocaust only get used because of the Meryl Streep TV series as well? Now, I actually came across something the other day. I don't want to change the conversation drastically, but when there were these accusations against Farage that he made these Holocaust jokes, I looked up on Ngram Viewer if people were actually talking about the Holocaust, and the Holocaust literally only sort of started coming into like commonly used public parlance about sort of 2 to 4 years after that apparently happened.
When roughly was that, Armin?
Like late 70s.
Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah, that's what I've seen too. Yeah, it was never mentioned in the 50s and stuff. It just wasn't.
Yeah, because it's like you have I'm trying because it's like because you have I don't lost my train of thought. But like, you have all because the main reason why people don't like the whole term Nazis anymore is because literally so you're vaguely patriotic, like you love your country, or you don't want as many brown people in your country. You're literally the same as Hitler. Like if you stray away from leftism, but you're literally the second Hitler coming in to gas for Jews again, basically.
Thank you, Mitch. Thank you. You have pointed out the basic truth of this. Is that the term Nazi and even or reality in a feminine way recognizes this. It's used as a stick to beat people who had nothing whatsoever to do with World War II or Germany or Adolf Hitler or the National Socialist Party in Germany. It's just used as a stick to beat you, even though you had nothing to do with it. I mean, Aubrey Ellie pointed out it's used against Trump all the time, and Trump's a 90s Democrat.
I mean, remember when they tried saying Farage was in the Hitler Youth? No, I don't think he was.
Oh, how did he manage that when it had been extinct for years before he was born?
Yeah.
I mean, the only person I know in recent modern times who wasn't the Hitler Youth was one of the previous popes. That's the only one I could think of.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, true story. True story. I'm also strange.
I mean, I will say he was a child. The thing is, at the time he was a teenager, so it's not like I think it was mandatory, wasn't it, at that point? So it wasn't like you can't really pin the like a sort of negative connotation about it against him. But I don't know if he believed it. I don't think he believed in any of it. But whatever. It was a state. It was a state.
William Grenville. I mean, another guy who was involved with that sort of stuff was George Soros.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who was a collaborator back in the day, by the way.
Which he strongly denies. He strongly denies.
Yeah,
but he denied. He did an interview.
That he was. It's proven.
Yeah, but he did an interview like in the 80s or something where he actually said, "Oh yeah, I did it," and then it was like, and then he suddenly comes out like decades later saying, "No, that's an anti-Semitic trope. I never did that." It's like, well, yes, we got footage of you, mate. What were you lying in that interview?
You just changed your mind later on. Yeah. But yeah, no, this is the point of all this and why we're even talking about it, because, strange to say, there's no one on this stream whose nation didn't fight against Adolf Hitler and the Germans. But it's just so fucking ridiculous. And bear in mind, guys, this was over 80 years ago.
Yeah.
We got to step over it, guys.
It's nothing to do with anything happening today, really. Exactly. Yeah, it's like, yeah.
I guarantee you, if you'd have gone and asked my grandfather in 1944 when he went across to Normandy and said, "All right, what we're going to do after you win is fill Britain with 55 million third world immigrants," he would have said, "I'm not going."
Well, of course, yeah, but I mean, that wasn't the plan then. No, all that shit happened
absolutely. But absolutely, of course.
My grandpa would have said the same thing, and he hated the Japanese a lot more than the Germans, and he was a World War II pilot.
Well, this is the thing, though,
but none of these guys were lefty globalist guys who wanted their nations to be destroyed. None of them. They were all nationalists. And all of them today would be described as far right.
Right, absolutely. Nationalists, truly. I mean, the patriotism was, it wasn't a bad thing to care about your country and to stand behind your country.
100%. That was just what everyone was like in those days. And this is why we're going on about this subject this evening. For you guys, it's this morning for me. But this is why we're talking about this, because it's just a bloody lie. It is. The whole World War II narrative is a lie. And the left's World War II narrative is even a bigger lie than everyone else's.
Well, yeah, they run around saying that their grandparents were Antifa. It's your granddad would have called you a slur. Like, grow up.
Yeah, absolutely, Adamant. Thank you for bringing that up. I'd almost forgotten about that. Yeah, I saw the left can't meme, by the way, but I saw the left putting up pictures of US soldiers on the beaches of D-Day and saying these were Antifa. No.
Well, it's like when Keir Starmer went up to the cenotaph and people heckled him, and you had all these twats all coming out going, "Oh, it's disgusting. You know, you should leave the politics out of it." It's like, well, hang on a minute. You lot don't leave the politics out of it when you're claiming that soldiers went over the top at Passchendaele for the Windrush generation or some other such bullshit. You know, like they do nothing but weaponize the memories of those people that
Absolutely.
died,
Absolutely.
in a war that a lot of those people didn't even really want to fight in. That's of course another part of the whole sort of post-war mythos, is that all these soldiers all went off. They had to fight for freedom, and it's like, well, no, like a lot of them were conscripted. A lot of them kind of
most
did it
of
because they
most
felt it
of
was
them
their,
were conscripted, but most.
I think it's there were more volunteers than a lot of people often think, but
but you had to you could volunteer for the parachute regiment or the commandos or air crew. Sure.
But a lot of that was also just because the war had started at that point, and they were kind of doing what they felt, you know.
Well, yeah, it was normal. Just going to war was normal. Like, fuck the reasons. Who cares? Like, that's just what you do.
Yeah. And it's like
it's like the English longbowman wouldn't question why he was going over to France and the Battle of Agincourt. It's just like, oh, my lord says I go there, I'm there. I don't think he probably hated the French. Probably knew, but didn't really think much of the French. Most of them probably didn't even really, may have thought that they probably, or maybe in some context they would have, they wouldn't have hated them. They probably would have not just said, "Oh, they're my enemy," and that's it.
Yeah, no, pretty much so. Look, Evola's Sunglasses makes the point that Churchill, Hitler, and the Unnecessary War by Patrick Buchanan's a good book. If you want to know a bit more about that book, you can look on my channel here, and I've got a series, I think, of 3 streams with what's his name, guys? I can't remember his name. Horace. With Horace, actually looking at that book. So
on my YouTube channel, I've actually got them compiled into a playlist as well.
Yeah, no, great, but we have got to step over this World War II narrative. And particularly this narrative where every bad thing in the world is something to do with Hitler. It's just ridiculous. I'm sorry, it's crazy.
I'd echo what Angelica makes, because the thing was, so the Americans, I mean, there are plenty of people who even were like conservatively minded in America who end up siding with communists. You have Joseph Stilwell, who was a constitutional Republican type, but in China he ended up basically shilling for Mao because he just hated Chiang Kai-shek that much. So that he ends up poisoning the well, and by the time he had Truman in, like, basically the US State Department all fully convinced that Mao is better than Chiang Kai-shek, and that's part of the reason why China fell to communism. And then you've got
Key Buckley is pushing my buttons at the moment. Key Buckley, there were no English peasants by this time. The Black Death, the plague, really ended the old-fashioned kind of society in England. Everyone was a free-born Englishman during the 100 Years' War for the most part, and they were happy enough to go and invade France because it was a way of an ordinary working bloke coming back fairly rich if he managed to capture.
Yeah, see, I've got a point on this, which I always want to bring up, and I always hold back because I'm worried it's going to make Duke so angry it'll derail the rest of the stream.
Well, go for it, mate. Go for it.
No, I can't.
No, this is our last stream of 2025, and it could be
I
our
want to
last
make it a
stream,
good one,
and it could be our last stream ever. Some of the things we've been saying earlier. So go for it. Go for it, Alma. No,
I was just going to say that I actually think that in the same way you can see this with like the Romans, where you go from like the Roman Republic army to the Roman Empire, like the later day military forces are more in modality, they resemble more of what we'd consider a peasant army than the actual armies made up of so-called peasants, because those peasants were almost like those sort of early armies. They often brought their own armor, their own weapons. They were, if anything, a large band of soldiers of fortune. Whereas once you get to the later periods, they have uniforms provided for them. They have a base salary. They have a strict set of rules to follow. They get shafted every which way afterwards. They're more akin to what the sort of popular idea of a peasant army is than the actual armies of early day rebels or peasants.
I'm not going to get angry with that, Adam, and that's not going to make me angry. No, that's a historical discussion. We'll have another day. I don't actually agree with you totally, but we'll have that discussion.
Well, I think it's the Hollywood depiction of peasants just being like covered in mud and rags.
It's really bullshit. True. It's absolute bullshit. Yeah, totally agree.
Well, I mean, like, for example,
if Adam had been talking about the Roman army in the Republic, I think he would have had a better point than about the British English troops in the 100 Years' War. But as I say, that's a historical discussion. We'll have it, Adam, and I'm quite happy to have that discussion. Don't think this is the place to do it.
Yeah, and that's like just about the whole French overlord thing. It's like because it's like, well, people might go, oh well, by the time you get to like Edward III, I mean, the institutions start becoming a lot more anglicized, but also,
they were not filthy, Geralt of Rivia. Yeah. No one was ever filthy. This is a Hollywood bullshit story. Okay.
I mean, they would have been filthy compared to today, but.
Well, no, I don't think it would actually.
Oh well, yeah. I mean, I would hope.
The clothes would have been a real problem because you've got like 2 tunics, and it's not getting industrially washed every time.
It's not getting washed every day.
I reckon there's a lot more STDs and all sorts of other things around today than there were in the medieval period. But all right, guys, you made.
They did. One of the weird sort of tropes is that they didn't wash. The people did wash. I mean, yes, it was like probably like they probably may have washed like in the same bucket or whatever. But people did wash. It's not like people went for like weeks and weeks and months without actually like washing water on themselves or something like that.
All right, guys, I've got to bring you guys back to reality because everyone here is younger than me. All right. When I was a little boy,
Duke remembers the old days.
Yeah, when I was a little boy in London, we had a great big, like 4-foot-long tin bath. Yeah,
and
my younger brother and I were put in that thing twice a week and washed. When we would, I'm talking about when I was like maybe 6 and my younger brother was 3.5.
I don't think that's super uncommon for little kids.
Yeah, but and we had to wash our hands and face every day, of course. But twice a week we were scrubbed, and I'm pretty sure that's what used to happen in the old days.
Yeah.
Can I tell you guys on this topic that we're discussing right now that I think I'm probably the first person on this group here to ever be shoveling horse shit while I'm on this right now, and it's
Aubrey Alley is looking after 2 horses, 2 dogs,
and there's a lot,
a great many chickens.
Yes, and we got broken into last night, which was really fun. So, anyway.
Was it? Were you able to see them off at all, or?
I saw them, and it was freaky, and I realized the back door wasn't locking, and I don't have a weapon here, and so it wasn't great.
Oh no!
So called the cops, but so that wasn't fun.
And fortunately, Aubrey Alley had 2 dogs with her who made loads of noise, and I'm sure helped make sure the burglars didn't actually come.
That's right.
Didn't have a boot Glock with a switch. Is that what they call it?
With a switch. I'm not. Did you say Glock?
Yeah.
I'm not a Glock girl.
Oh.
So I've never shot a Glock.
What's your 9mm or reality?
Mine's a Ruger, and that's a SIG. and then my rifle is a Ruger.
Yeah, I had a Ruger rifle when I was in South Africa. They're all right. They're perfectly
I love them.
Quite
fine
old-fashioned now, aren't they?
semi-auto.
It's a good one to learn on, is what I was told. The 1020, the Ruger 1022 is like a classic.
Yeah, no, they're fine.
But anyway, I just thought that was maybe kind of a funny thing that, you know, I'm out here shoveling.
Someone is pointing out in the chat, by the way, Aubrey Ali, that SIGs have had some problems recently, I think, with going off accidentally.
Oh, shit.
I think it's
you
the
should
actual
speak-
military pistol, the standard.
Yeah, you should
issued in
speak
the
to your
military.
dad about that. They've had some accidents recently.
That'd be a good
Yeah.
excuse.
I think that's like the
I think-
P something,
Yeah.
right?
Was it like going off in your holster or something?
Yeah. Well, one
Yeah,
Air
Shoot yourself in the foot.
yeah, hitting the guy in his own leg and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Well,
No,
shit.
no, it only goes off when you've got it pointed at minorities, purely by mistake. Though.
Oh, darn it.
When you say minorities,
Not again.
when you say minorities, though, Armin, like they're not a minority in the world. They're the overwhelming majority, but you're not allowed to say that, of course.
on one of the air bases, one of the servicemen, he just put his gun down on a table. It went off, shot another serviceman.
Oh,
That's
that's
right.
terrible. Can you imagine
That's
living
right.
with that, even though it's not your fault at all?
Aubrey Ali, I would be talking to your dad about that one, and I was saying, Dad, is this weapon safe? Maybe you'll get your new pistol.
Well, I am aiming for the Ruger, the Mark IV.
Yeah, I don't think
this
you
one
really
here.
want a Ruger, babes. They're not the best of safe pistols, you know.
Yeah, but Glocks, I know everybody talks about Glocks being so great, but I don't know. My dad's not a big fan of them, so I've never shot one. So.
Well, there you go. You should speak to your dad about Rugers not being totally safe. So.
All right, I will.
You want an Anderson Wheeler revolver? That's what you want.
Yeah.
No, you want. Listen, if I was going real here, Adam, I'd say get a Browning high power 9mm.
Oh, my dad likes Brownings.
Browning high power 9mm, absolutely reliable pistol. Got a reasonable number of rounds. It's good. It's good.
Where are they made nowadays?
Well, they're a Belgian pistol, but
Right.
obviously because they're a Browning high power, they were designed by the American gun dude Browning many years ago.
Mm.
But extremely reliable, and they've got I think a 13-round magazine. That's quite respectable.
My dad's got a. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, you carry on.
Oh no, I was just gonna say my dad's got a Kimber that is a really gorgeous gun too. And I'm not sure who makes that. Do you know?
No idea.
Oh, really?
No, I just don't know. Never heard of it. Key Buckley is talking about a broom handle Mauser. That's a like 1895 gun, probably. But
yeah, I'm not sure. I'm going to carry one of those. So.
Yeah, no, you wouldn't be able to carry a broom handle.
I know. I
Mauser.
was joking. I say it like that.
That's a big pistol. It's what Churchill used at his battle at Omdurman, where he took part in a shitty cavalry charge.
Didn't he have an injured hand though when he did that? Wasn't that why he used the pistol?
He claimed that, Adam.
Right.
But I've never seen how he injured his hand. Because all the other officers used the saber. But instead, Churchill used the most modern pistol that was available in those days, which was a broom handle Mauser. And I've always had my suspicions about that, to be honest.
I mean, you can't blame him. He wants to have the fancy toy.
No, I'm just thinking that, if you're really a cavalry officer, and your men
swords are cooler than guns.
Swords are way cool.
Yeah, Yeah, exactly. And
I don't know.
all the other officers in the 21st Lancers, and of course Churchill was not a 21st Lancer. He was a 4th Hussar, I think. And he got transferred into the 21st Lancers just for that campaign because basically his American mother slept with assaulted British officials because she was a hoe. Because she was a hoe, basically. She was an upper class hoe, basically. And that's how we. But also, when Churchill was going down the military railway that went from Egypt down into Sudan, he was such a prig, which is an old expression, but means basically he wouldn't listen to anybody else, and he just, said what he said. His fellow officers stuffed him under the seat, under their wooden bed. And Churchill. Someone is.
I will isolate.
Thank you. Churchill was stuffed under the seat and spent quite a lot of the journey going down to Sudan stuffed under the seat by other British officers. But I think Churchill deserved it, and then I'm no fan.
Stuffed under the seat that they were sitting on. You're talking about?
Yeah, in like a railway seat in a railway
that
carriage.
sucks.
Yeah, because he was such a scumbag that they did that. Yeah,
I wonder if it changed his attitude.
No, I don't think it did. He was always an arsehole. But I'm no fan of Churchill. But there we go. So anyway, Mitch, any final comments on your first subject that we've gone over an hour on?
I mean, I don't know much more to say about, because it's like, you have. I mean, Piers Morgan was doing like a couple of streams after where he was just seething about it, and you had like I think it was like Stephen Crowder just saying, "Oh yeah, like this is why you lost." Basically, you just spent your time trying to scold the guy, and Nick Fuentes was wise to that gotcha and scolding and all that usual stick. And it's like, it's like I don't know, like, because you can. Like there were so many times where Nick, like for example, Piers Morgan was like, "Finally, I got Nick to admit that X amount of people died in the Holocaust." And it's like, it's not the gotcha he thinks it is. Yeah.
It was not, but wasn't it 9 million? I think it was 9, maybe 10 million died in the Holocaust.
You mean 60 million?
It could have been. It could have been 60. It was certainly 9, 10, maybe 11 million people.
Yeah, he just didn't factor that Nick was basically taking a piss about it. Like he's just, basically, he was just supposed to talking past one another because it's just like it's unstoppable force meets an immovable object. I suppose.
One of the really interesting parts for me was how he was trying to morally shame Nick from just a totally different moral point of view, like with the virgin stuff. It's like, oh, you're saving yourself for marriage? What a weirdo! It's like, you think that's going to shame him?
Tharium, let's remember that Piers Morgan's wife,
of course,
cucks him all the time. She cucks him literally, and he thinks that's okay.
But it's just these are two completely different moral visions of the world, and Piers is trying to shame him. It would be like me going, "What? You're not a cannibal, you weirdo." It just doesn't work.
It's just insanity to me.
Yeah, that's what
anyone who would allow his wife to cuck him and not divorce her and leave her is just, to me, a worthless man.
Yeah,
just a worthless man.
Yeah, that's what I found funny about it. Was like Piers Morgan, like he was pearl clutching the most about mainly the women, like basically Fuentes' view on women, because he said because it's like, he was, because Fuentes basically said, "Oh yeah, like, women are difficult to be around," and that's what that's stuff like that was what triggered Piers Morgan to become some sort of woman defender.
Well, they are kind of difficult to be around. I mean, look, we got Aubrey Alley on this stream, and because she's a girl,
she comes out with
things which we wouldn't come out with because
Right.
we're men.
I'm here for
I'm not having a go at you, Aubrey,
Right.
and you're
I
not
know.
that difficult to be
I'm
around.
the non-historical professional like you guys.
And you're a girl.
It's here for
women are just
comedic
different.
relief. Not really, but
Yeah, but women are just different. You know,
just
they
a
are.
different viewpoint. Right.
Yeah, 100.
I mean, politics I get, but yeah, you guys, when you start talking history, I'm just like, I have no idea what. I didn't pay attention to this.
No, we're not having. I'm not having.
No,
a go
I
at
know
you.
you're not. I know you're not. I would say I am
all I'm
definitely
saying-
difficult to be around. I am a girl. I'm totally, and you tell me
Yeah,
that
but
all
you're
the
not-
time.
but-
You're like, you're just a girl.
Yeah, but you're not difficult to be around if you understand that women are like women because
Right.
they're women.
Right.
You know?
Because you don't get into arguments really with me. Sometimes I've kind of you've told me to shut up, just shut up, which I've had to. But usually you just say, "Babes, you're just a girl," and then that's done. So if other men handled it that way, maybe.
Yes, exactly. But Piers Morgan, this guy we're talking about, his wife, who's some sort of masseur, he literally cucks him with other men.
Not
and he
cool.
thinks that, yeah, he thinks that's okay.
I mean,
And he's
no
having a
respect
go.
there.
Now, understand, I'm not a Fuentes fan, and Fuentes had this catboy kind of
That's right.
gay boyfriend he used to go shopping with, and so I'm not a Fuentes fan. But you know what? Out of those two, I couldn't pick which was worse.
I do think letting your wife fuck other black guys is worse than being gay.
Oh yeah.
And not doing anything about it.
Yeah.
You just live
Absolutely.
with that. I think that's worse.
All right.
I mean, your masculinity
if you're
card
gay,
is
I
just.
guess. If you're gay, yeah, okay.
No, he's saying what you're saying.
I'm saying the cuckold is more pathetic than the guy.
Oh yeah, look, baby, any woman who plays you false, you leave her immediately. You just leave and you say, "All right, see ya. Wouldn't want to be ya." That's
I mean,
it.
there's no respect there at all if that's what she's doing, and you know, I don't know what the other points are in the marriage because marriages take two, but that's like the most disrespectful thing you could do to a man, I think.
I don't even care if it's black guys. I don't care if it's white
Right.
guys. Leave immediately. Done. End of story.
And it's not going to change.
Oh, if she does it once, she'll do it again.
And she's public about it. Like she posts this on Instagram. It's like, which is even worse. And if it was just, she just kept it quiet. But no.
Good point from Barn Door C21 in the chat here. Yep, true.
What's the point? I can't read it because I'm shoveling. What was this?
Oh, Mount Batten was very big time cut by when he was the last governor general of India. He was big time cut by his wife, who was screwing the Indian nationalist who was going to replace him.
Did he kill her?
No. But that's a symptom of what's happened to the West, I think, over the years. But yeah.
Yeah, you don't really hear that happening too much in the Muslim culture, do you?
Or anywhere else, no. Harry, did you have a first topic for this evening?
Yeah. So we all remember the "you will own nothing and be happy." Yeah.
Oh God! Yeah.
It seems that AI is the vehicle through which it's all going to happen. So one of the things that's happened recently is the past few weeks. There's three manufacturers of RAM memory for computers. One of them has just announced they will no longer be serving the consumer market, only AI centers. And so this has caused, in just a few weeks, the prices of RAM has gone up 3 or 4 times.
Yep.
And you can see where this is heading, because other things are, like graphics cards are more expensive. And one sec. Right, and But this huge price in increase in RAM, it's more than just computers, of course. It's everything. It's in your cars. It's in your phones. I mean, they even make smart toasters, right? But for computers, can you imagine not having a computer and being able to function? You just can't do that these days. But now, all the big Microsoft, Google, Amazon, they are buying up all the hardware, all of it, thrown to these data centers.
Tharium.
Yeah.
I saw a post on this from Charlemagne.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone, I think, knows Charlemagne in our area of the internet. The guy who used to sometimes be on AA streams, part of the Old Glory Club. And he has pointed out this eventually might make personal computers unaffordable.
Yeah. I mean, this is the point. It's already like all the computers. You want to buy one now just because of this RAM increase, because there's not going to be. It's not available. So there's so much less RAM. This is caused computers already become a lot more expensive, and you can see how in not too long, it just won't be any. You won't be able to get any RAM. That's it. And so what they're going to move towards clearly is what you will be able to do. You will have a screen with just nothing but basic internet functionality, and you will rent computing power from the data centers, and you get to rent it forever. So, and you can see, and this is complete control. You won't be able to do anything on the computers. Anything to do with the computer, they will control it. That if they don't want you to run a certain program, search certain things, like forget Internet ID, you just go straight to the source. They control the computer.
Yep.
And you have to pay for the privilege of it. You will own nothing. And
so it would all be stored there too, then all your information.
Yeah. Everything you ever said. So, say you had a private conversational reality with, like a boyfriend or something. That would all be stored. And if you did anything, you did anything wrong, they would be able to publicize that.
That's not something I want shared with anybody else.
And it feeds into the perpetual debt slavery. You will always be having to pay. You can't own anything. And
what would you change it over to? What would you save it onto? I mean,
well, you won't have any hardware to save it onto.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, and it's just getting into just how insane like the god of AI has become to these people. And there's because it's just the data center. There's no end to it. With human needs, like there's a set amount of cars, bicycles, food, whatever that we need. You can get everyone in the world a bicycle, right? But AI, it never ends. It will always hunger for more and more data centers, and the sizes of we're only seeing tiny ones so far. They've got plans for huge ones that take up an entire city's worth of power to create, to push, and then also billions of tons of water to cool them all. And in some places where these little data centers are, they've already had their energy costs spike massively because it's all going to the data center. The water's become all polluted, and it's just never going to end. And
but it's total control, Karen, because if everything you need and do is online, but not on your own computer, on somebody else's server, and you control nothing, anything,
and not even your own country. I mean, it could be China.
Yeah, exactly, or any combination of countries.
Right.
This is like it's 1984,
and you can
plus basically.
The profit is there for them because Adobe was quite early on this with Photoshop. Used to just buy a copy of Photoshop. Used to buy a copy of Photoshop and you had it forever. That's great. But then they realized, well, how about we instead charge you a subscription? you have to rent it from us, and that gave them so much more profits. So AI in itself, I don't have a real problem with AI art or the language models, but it's just where it's heading is my problem. And how are they going to make back these insane investments that they're throwing in? Like trillions of dollars are being thrown into AI. How are you going to make it back? Well, an easy one is where everyone has to rent computing from you.
One story that I've also seen going around, and this is sort of a part of this, with like the whole upcoming World Cup in the United States, there's been this proposal put out that to enter the United States now, you have to present the last 5 years of social media posts, or that they'll be able to get that information anyway if you refuse
only
to.
from Europe. William Grenville, very important that you look this up. This does not apply to Indians or Africans. This is only going to, it's only going to apply to Europeans. And somehow the Trump administration is doing this.
Yeah, and if we're honest, I guarantee that there's, if you're critical of Israel, you'd be banned. I've seen somebody on social media who's already stated that they did like I don't know how true this may be false, but but they said that they earlier this year put a basically like shared a meme of the vice president, which is the meme is somewhat critical of him, and that they've been denied entry into the United States because of that. Now, I don't know if that's true. That might just be fabricated, but it does sort of stand to reason that they could use some sort of tool to just scour social media posts, going back 5 years.
Well, people are granted free speech until they're American citizens.
Well, yeah,
also, guys, let's remember this. I was talking a little bit earlier about freeborn Englishmen. If you want to really control your population, don't allow anyone to be free. Go to feudalism, go to communism, because then no one's free. And that seems to be exactly the position.
That's where we're heading.
That's where we're heading.
Yeah. But the problem is in a homogenous society like Britain was and has been in for most of its history, that system could probably work. But the problem is we're not, and America isn't, and you can't operate the countries like that anymore. It would just dissolve into it would dissolve into probably a mix of anarchy and ethnic squabbling, particularly in Britain as well.
Who was it? Someone mentioned about the Royal Biscuit, about the cost of power, and that's like one of the. I have seen some people hoping that, well, surely we're going to scrap all the green stuff and have cheaper power costs. No, we won't, because all of the power we're smelly peasants. We don't get any power. Ours will just go up. They will scrap the green stuff, but it's all going to just go to data centers instead. So we get absolutely nothing, and every politician seems to be hell bent on this insane AI stuff. Like all of the American administration, reformer, they all want to be a AI powerhouse, turn Britain into an AI powerhouse. What that means is just acres and acres and acres of data farms. That's what, and they don't. I think like finance and the tech bros, they're so disconnected from reality. They don't even realize there isn't enough stuff to build their insane plans that they have going for them.
I'm kind of with Royal Biscuits on this as well, because like OpenAI, which is one of the big ones that a lot of the government contracts in like the US are going through. I mean, they are hemorrhaging money.
Yeah,
like they're losing.
Yeah.
They're losing. Apparently, they're losing billions. Like a year.
Because there's exactly they're not getting money back. Like, well, you can put a few ads in. That's nothing compared to what they're
there's
spending.
two ways, guys, that this can go. Okay, the good way would be that personal computers become more powerful and have more RAM and more memory and all the rest of it. The bad way, and that's the way the elites want to go, is that you own nothing and you have no personal RAM or power or memory in your computer, but you rent it all. This is like perfectly obvious, and it's not even all that complicated. Even for like a boomer like me, it's not that complicated.
I mean, thinking about it, this has been, the system that has had total control over all forms of communication apart from the internet, media, all that thing, whether it be film, television, we know all this stuff. And the problem, I think, in modern time, looking at it is, and you've heard this from countless politicians in this country, in the United States, whether it be Republican, Democrat, or in this country, Tory, Labour, they've all said it. I remember Chakrabarti years ago said that the internet is the Wild West, the Wild West, and it needs to be controlled. The trouble is that the system, those in the system, don't like it. I mean, the fact is that people like us, we have channels, we're able to communicate. Someone like Nick Fuentes, who we talked about earlier, they banned them off YouTube, but he then went to another site, and the ideas and everything that they don't want, or things they don't want to be talked about, can now be permeated, and millions of people listen to them. That is their problem. I mean, with us, we've got someone like Morgoth, who has his Substack and he has regular appearances, and he has a presence there. That you over the last 5 years, I would say the scene, the distant, if you would call them the dissident scene on the right in this country, has, and particularly, I mean, I think it expanded under COVID. I think the greatest mistake they did was they locked everyone at home, because Nick Fuentes gained a following under that time period, as long as many of as many of us, including myself, and I think yourself, Iron Duke, as well. I don't know how long your channel's been going, but that was, I think, their biggest mistake.
5 or 6 years, William.
Yeah.
What you mentioned, Anjuk, about computers, that would have been so nice if we could have gone the path, because, as you said, computers have been getting more powerful, and it would have been great if we could have gone to the path of where we're all running our own local AI sort of systems. Yeah, it's just running locally on your computer.
100%. Yep, 100%.
Like, PewDiePie did this himself, but he spent like $20,000 or something, because I mean, he's a millionaire, of course, but that's but in a few years' time, that would be more affordable to anyone to sort of build a system that could run your own local AI. But that's not the way we're going. We're going down the owning nothing path. And I'm really hoping that it all just collapses completely.
I'll tell you this, Farron. Charlemagne mentioned this on a post on X, on Twitter. And my reply to him was, okay, if they do that and they get rid of porn, for example, because that's one of the main things that people look at on the internet. You get all sorts of things banned on the internet. Porn is never one of them. Even when the Australian government says they're going to ban under 16s from going on social media, they don't ban them from going on porn sites, though. You may have noticed. They just don't. And I'm in Australia.
Who owns the porn sites?
Well, hang on. please, William Grenville, do not get my fucking channel banned, all right? Please. You want to do this on your channel? Do what you want.
Well, let's just say with OnlyFans is Ukrainian. We won't say anything more than that.
Yeah, exactly
Doesn't he live
right.
in
And
Essex?
I'm not disagreeing with you, Mitch, or William Grenville. I just don't want my channel banned. All right. So all I'm trying to point out to you guys is that I said to Charlemagne on X, Twitter, that, you know what? If they get rid of porn, then that's one of the main bread and circuses these days that keeps average, not thinking about things, white European descent guys not worrying about any of this shit, right? And the thing is, what used to do that was sports ball, but no one cares about sports ball anymore. This goes back a bit to what Mitch was saying about, you know, the difference between modern young dudes and boomers.
The boomers still love their sports ball, but
yeah, but they were
Zoomers,
subjected to propaganda from the day they were born.
Yeah, Zoomers not so much.
Yeah, exactly. And these guys don't really care about this
So
shit.
what about somebody like, sorry, keep going.
You know, if you're going to talk about the young dudes, like some of the chaps on this stream, their bread and circuses is partly porn. I'm not saying individuals on this stream, by the way. I'm talking about that generation of people. But the thing is, you see, they will absolutely allow you to go watch this stuff, but they'll record it all. And if you ever do anything that even slightly upsets them, a bit like the modern Chinese Communist Party government, you'll be banned from traveling. You'll be banned from all sorts of things. This is the whole point of Britain and Australia introducing all these restrictions on what you can do on the internet. It's got nothing to do with looking after children, because anyone who thinks that the British or Australian government give a shit about white children, particularly, is insane. It's all designed to do what we're talking about here, and what the main thing that Farian brought up, it's about control.
Yeah, I'm just, like I said, I'm hoping, because what they're going for is not sustainable. Their plans are not physically possible with just everything they're throwing into this AI god that they're hoping will, I don't know, grant them immortality or something.
Well, I think they're hoping that the problems, aka people like us, will be pacified. I mean, ultimately, they want people like us, people, you know, like Nick in America and stuff like that, people who see the problems of the modernity in the modern world. They just want them pacified, and the AI is kind of like the ultimate cheat tool, if you will. It's the ultimate quick fix. But it's not. It won't. And as Iron Duke said, you know, in Australia, for example, there's that whole banning stuff, but porn is still there. I don't think it's beyond the realm of possibility that it could be outright banned in this country. I mean, it's already been. There's like you have to register.
William, do you get any porn on your X Twitter feed? Because I don't get any. I've never seen any.
No, nothing overly, not like it used to be. No.
So what puzzles me is, if you're the Australian government and the gay Albanese, who apparently got married 2 weeks ago, and he's about, I don't know, 55, but I think he's gay, just like Starmer really is. If you're the Australian government, why do you ban X, Twitter, but you don't ban porn sites. That's like weird to me. If
Well,
if you're really trying to protect children, which in fact parents should do, not the government. But you know,
as I was going to say, the thing about like, I'm looking at this going, I think a lot of it can just be attributed down to they just don't. A lot of it's malice, but also they don't really know how the internet works either because they're going, okay, well, we're going to ban Reddit, but we're not going to ban Discord, even though Discord is as big as Reddit for like left-wing servers.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, what logic? And
alternatively, Mitch, the government is just lying, and they're not really interested in doing that. What they're really interested in doing is people like me, for example, having to register in order to go on Twitter. That's what they really want.
I mean, Woodpit is saying like they'll have a huge fight amounts of F with the internet, and I go, I oppose to some extent, but I mean, I mean, I do feel like in the case of this country, they spaffed all the goodwill they could have enjoyed with all the COVID stuff. Like since COVID stuff, that same goodwill and compliance that we used to enjoy, that's worn away now. It's a matter of like they've demarketed
Mitch, hang on one second. Mitch, hang on one second. I just wanted to say to Adamant, did you have something you wanted to talk about before you leave? Because if you did, please do. I'm sorry. If you'd have told me 5 minutes ago, I would have just said, Adamant, your turn. Adamant is the second main dude on this channel. He kind of started it with me. So I'm not trying to be rude to Adamant at all. Sorry, Mitch.
As I was saying, I don't think after what they did with all the COVID stuff and all the Boris wave, I don't think they've got that same goodwill and compliance that they used to enjoy. So but on the other hand, people are by nature conformists. So I don't know, like what there are times where I can. I mean, there's a guy, Stephen Stoppard, like friend of Aaron Hooks, will say because he reckons that if war was declared with Russia tomorrow, then most young men would largely conform to the conscription, and I'm like, I have my doubts about that because it's like what are young men told to believe in these days? Really, but we're told, okay, look upon this country as an economic zone. Well, on that merit, there's no point fighting for that because what do you get?
Also the war footage as well. I mean, just think about it. You'll have like we got in the Ukraine at the moment. You can find endless coverage of people being blown to smithereens by those drones packed with explosives. I mean, that's what you're going to be having bombarding, and so it's going to demoralize the population unless you shut it down so people in this country can't see it, the public can't see it. But it's the internet, it's going to get out.
Yeah, it's not just that, man. I mean, it's not just that. It's also a matter of can they logistically actually do anything. I mean, I just think because it's like, I know the Ukrainians have massive problems with loads of Colombians and Brazilians volunteering for them, but they don't switch off their phones or texting their family or whatever, texting their friends back home. And so the Russians are just geopolitically locate them pretty easily. So that's probably what they'll do. Like, they'll probably just confiscate all the phones, but still, like, I'm just, it's like the internet, right? I mean, you go back to like the last 10, 15 years. It's just been a matter of people have become a lot more online, but don't go to the cinema nowadays because films these days are largely crap. People don't really. I mean, people talk about people like men and women having less sex because the gender divides are just that big. I mean, and so everyone just spends their time on the internet. But if you even try to interfere with people's ability to enjoy the internet, what were you leaving for them to have as bread and circus? Like, you just interfering with everything. It's like the same with the football. You get all the football fans booing the BLM stuff.
Yeah.
And you also got the Boris wave, which just eradicated on people's ability to run away from a problem. It's just going to be a matter of you just forcing people into a corner where they can't get away.
Yeah. Also, like conscription, this is that's a lot bigger ask than just pay more taxes. Say.
Well, yeah, okay. Mitch, I would just say men and women not having enough sex. Speak for yourself, mate. That's all that. But I'm a traditional guy, and that's what I would always say, even if I hadn't had a fuck in the last month. But anyway, just bear that in mind, guys. Yeah, I don't know. We're moving into a worse and worse world. Kind of what it's kind of obvious to anybody who isn't a moron or doesn't hate their own people. I just think it's entirely natural. I am very sorry because I didn't realize that Arman had to leave, and I didn't ask Arman if he had a first subject for our last stream of the year. So I'm sorry about that. But Arman's a working guy, and he has to go to bed at a reasonable time, which I never did. But I used to sometimes get home. Sorry, that's wrong. I'd get back to barracks at like 4 a.m. and have to get up at 7. And I used to manage it in the old days. These days, of course, it would kill me stone dead. But back then, when you're 18 and 19, you can manage these things. But yeah. Aubrey Alley, you said you had a subject for this evening. What was it?
I do, but I'm trying to get a horse into a stall and my phone's gonna die here. Oh, he just walked in. Okay. So go to somebody else next, and then you can
Cool.
If that's okay.
No, I'm happy you're looking after horses. I love horses. They're great animals.
Yep.
Okay.
Hello?
William, what's your topic? If you have one.
I was going to say, apart from the Piers Morgan issue, actually, I think it probably is worth just sort of talking about the grooming gangs, because there's a Labour judge has been selected to, or Labour, what was it, Baroness has been selected to.
That's the very, very, very feminist, middle-aged boomer
fat white woman.
Yeah, really horrible. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and I mean, look, what this is. This is a inquiry, which in the British state, inquiries are just there to cover up, the topic at hand.
In the modern British state, William.
And it's to diffuse anything. Whenever like something's getting a bit too spicy, they go, "Okay, we'll do an inquiry. Everyone, go home. Stop worrying about it."
And it's important to remember that this time, the start of last year, so January 2025, Keir Starmer even refused to acknowledge grooming gangs as a thing and referred to it as a right-wing, far-right dog whistle. And so, from there to now, you have seen the sort of change, only because the years had to, and there's been sort of pressure.
William Grenville, would you agree with me that the thing about Keir Starmer, right, is his sexual knowledge mostly has to do with Ukrainian rent boys? So I doubt he does know much about grooming gangs, really, because I don't think he has much to do with women, except like in his con marriage.
Well, yeah, maybe, but he was director of public prosecutions when all this was. I mean, the height of it. He was, and
And he made sure most of these mainly Pakistani groomers never even got prosecuted. Yes.
No. And you had let me just list off a few notable instances while he was Director of Public Prosecutions. So you had one particular instance where one of the victims gave birth to a child from rape, effectively from rape. The CPS at the time argued there wasn't any evidence to suggest sexual intercourse had taken place. I am not joking. I am not joking. Okay. So one, you had instances where a victim was arrested because she was punching and chucking things out of a kebab shop which she escaped from, where she was held and drugged and raped. And also you had the infamous occasion where police officers again, this is like largely in Bradford and up in Yorkshire, were handing over from the police station victims to the groomers. Now, some of these Pakistani men. Now, one of the individuals of a gang was, and this is where you have the kebab sort of taxi network. One was a counsellor, Labour counsellor. Supposedly, and this is where it's a bit uncertain, it also seems to suggest that there was a one in the police force, which I think has been largely accepted, but it's like one of those things where it's not entirely clear in the reporting.
We actually, I think, William Granville, know that there were a number of Pakistani heritage police officers who were more or less deeply involved in this. Yes. I think we can say that. I think we can say that.
But what's more troubling is, like, you even had instances where one of the victims attended a marriage with one of these rapist members, and you had people from the child services and local council who turned up to the wedding.
Yeah, the council who was the child protective services who was supposed to be looking after this child goes along to its wedding to the Pakistani rapist. Like,
yeah. And
and let's be clear about this, guys. Let's be very clear about this. Some of these girls were 11, 12, or 13. We are not talking about 17-year-olds or even 16-year-olds. These little girls were 11 to 13, many of them, and they were being multiple raped, branded, tortured, humiliated, and this is all okay according to the British state.
My dad would have killed. He would have killed anyone that he found doing that. He would have gone to prison.
Your dad and me too, and right. I'm sure most of the people on this stream. But you know what? That was what was happening, and that is what they are covering up.
One of the grooming gang members who, one of the members in Bradford, who I think was part of the taxi network. Now, he was killed before he got to court because he was run over. Now, there's some suggestion that he may have been killed by own members of the gang, so his family, because, they wanted to keep the secret. There is some suggestion that he was killed by maybe someone else who, had a grievance with it. We don't know. But yeah, he was run over. He was and it wasn't like an accidental one, because whoever did it sort of reversed on and drove off. So it was obviously deliberate intent in that case. But the ultimate thing,
and amazingly, William Granville, and amazingly, no one got a photograph of the number plate. That's just amazing these days in modern Britain.
Yes. And there's always been. I mean, there's been the scope and the scale, we all know how ingrained the Labour Party is. And then this is the thing, whenever this comes up in radio, or even to this day on LBC radio, it always devolves down to, well, actually, they're more white paedophiles, and then they'll talk about white paedophiles, and it will sort of go off into this ridiculous conversation of where they don't understand per capita, which is like the ultimate liberal defense mechanism.
Granville, for the people in the chat, please, would you point out the white population in Britain compared to the Muslim population in Britain?
So I believe as of 2025, it's somewhere, or the white population of Britain, I believe it's like in some sort of like 70, like the sort of upper 70% range, and the Asian population, I'm not entirely sure what the Muslim but the Asian population, I think, is around 10-11%.
No, I think it's like more like 6.
Oh, is it 6%? Oh, maybe
that sounds right, Farron. The point we're trying to make here is that Britain has the ridiculous population of what, 68 million officially now, and way over 60 million of them are white guys.
Yeah, and though for Sheffield in chat there, the 1 in 38, that is the most ridiculous statistic ever, because 1 in 38 males convicted so far in Rotherham of adult males have been convicted. If we were to go up to Rotherham now and walk around in the street with your people, we would be passing on a statistical level. Well, we would be passing every maybe 10 minutes. How busy a street is during midday. You'd be passing like a convicted paedophile every minute.
I mean, that's convicted as well. I think in Rotherham, the actual number was about 10% of them were actually involved.
Yeah, and this is the thing. Now, the real scandal, and this is where I think
it's also worth pointing out, William Granville, sorry to interrupt you again, but it's also worth pointing out that many of the families of these mostly Pakistani ethnic,
I'd say all the families.
Yeah, they turned around and said, "Oh, fuck those white sluts." That's basically what they said.
Yeah, I mean, either they knew and just ignored it because it wasn't happening to their community, or they were actively involved in it. Yeah, absolutely. And trafficking. And bear in mind, they all trafficked them around the country. It wasn't just Northern England. They trafficked them down, as I think Rupert Lowe has been pointing out, as far as London. I mean, let's be honest, there's probably a lot going on in London.
Of course they knew.
They would get 11-year-old little girls, right? An 11-year-old little girl is just a little girl as far as I'm concerned, all right? She wants a dolly for Christmas. They would get 11-year-old little girls. They would get them drunk, give them drugs, and then mass rape them, and then send them around the country to get mass raped by other fucking Pakistani bastards.
I know, obviously.
And I was going to say the real scandal in this, which is always overlooked, is that, and this is something in the inquiry, and nobody really can, I think, has actually comprehended. Is number one, it's not about. Let's just say on the proportionate level that it was more white British people doing this. I mean, let's just say that was the case.
Yeah,
it doesn't really matter because the scandal is. The scandal is that these people did it and were not prosecuted, and they weren't arrested en masse and prosecuted. If you look at the so-called white grooming gangs that down in Glasgow or wherever, they've been arrested immediately. What happened here is that they were covered up by the local Labour Party and in Telford by the Tory Party councillors as well, but mainly Labour. They were covered up. It then became a point where any attempts to talk about the issue meant you had people who were basically kicked out the Labour Party and threatened, or people outside of the party network were also threatened. You have a political class that refuses to acknowledge it. You had journalists, including scummy tabloid type journalists, who actively suppressed the story. You had, this, and also the worst thing about it for me, and I don't say this lightly, the people who commit this, they're not anything to do with me. They are foreigners. At the heart of it, they are foreigners. They're foreigners to all of us. But you had native British people who were involved with it, and for me, that's something that I struggle to cope with even to this day. That
Not many, to be fair,
but
William.
No, I think the cover up. I think the cover up was the actual rape, sure, but the cover up involved a lot.
The cover up.
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
the cover up.
because
That's my
that was
point, Andrew.
because that was mainstream politicians and the
Yeah.
mainstream media who are all filth. All right, I'm not defending those scum.
Yeah,
for a
but you
second.
had like white Labour councillors, you had white Labour MPs, you had British English MPs, you had senior police force members of the police force.
Angela Rayner.
I mean,
Rayner.
it's like the Catholic Church, covering up everything with the priests. It's a network.
Well, it's worse because these people were foreign. I mean,
It's actually
right.
Or reality, it's not actually the same at all.
Right, I get the point.
That is what the left try and say, but it's actually not the same.
No, I get the point that it's your own nation, your own national, that's your own children.
Angela Rayner is supposedly a working class British woman, but she will happily talk about, vile men and toxic masculinity, but she'll never, ever talk about 15 Pakistanis raping a 11-year-old British little tiny girl. She'll never talk about that.
God, I can't even imagine that hell for those girls. I can't even imagine.
I mean, and a lot of them, most of these girls were in some sort of state care.
Right. Well, because of course they know who to go for. It's just like every other pedophile.
They go for the children of single mothers and poor little girls
you had cases where
who are in homes. Yeah,
you had cases where these Muslim gangs, they were buying up the care homes, so they had direct access because they then owned it.
Yeah,
in Southport, I remember after the whole the protests and riots there, it was revealed that there was a nursery which was being built.
Oh my God!
That was being built, and it was being the owner of it was a convicted member of a grooming gang, and it wasn't until I can't remember which news channel or something that or which journalist exposed it. I think it was the one that you used to see on GB News before he became sort of like Matt Goodwin sort of shoved him to the side, exposed it, and then of course that stops. But the worst about thing, it still goes on to this day. But the grooming gang you'll have, and I can tell you now, it's just going to be talk about violence against women. And today, or not today, or yesterday, I should say, the government's announcing how young they're going to be, teaching young boys in schools how to respect women. So they will skirt. Ultimately, they won't address the problem. They'll skirt around it. But Morgoth, like Morgoth usually is, he is entirely right on this point that the problem with the grooming gangs, it's like this unfinished battle. It's this unfinished thing that exists in the British psyche now, and it will just keep, no matter what sort of bullshit a Labour, Tory, or even possibly Farage in the future will pull, it will always come back. The reality of it is stronger than any fictitious problem solving shit that they come up with. It's going to come back, and it's not going away until it's properly resolved, and it has to be resolved because we have to have justice. There has to be real justice, and those who were involved with it have to be punished. And I know how I would punish those people, and particularly those who were British and did this and involved with this. I know exactly how they should be punished. But
it was just this week we had that case with the 2 Afghan guys raping that 15-year-old girl, and she recorded it.
And we get those cases every week, by the way, Tharium.
But like that, and that's this thing. Like, headlines don't have an impact, but this girl, she apparently recorded it, and the defense of these 2 Afghan guys said you cannot release that footage or will cause riots, and so it's been blocked.
Sounds like Black Lives Matter, you know.
And it probably would, because
Aubrey Ali, can I ask you to please mute yourself for a second, because you're talking to horses, dogs, or chickens in the back.
No, I wasn't. I was saying that to you guys.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I wasn't saying it to the dogs.
I thought you were talking to your animals, but please mute yourself for a minute, all right? And I'll come back to you. Look,
but that's the thing. Like, we're so numb to headlines, right? And this footage probably would cause riots, but it's like they're more concerned about that than all the people being raped.
Way more concerned about that than they are about protecting little British girls.
And also, like, obviously it's worse that it's kids, but even if it was like 40 or 50-year-old women, that doesn't make it any more excusable.
No, but little children of 11 makes it a lot
I know,
worse.
like I said it's worse, but, you know, I don't care who they're doing it to. Action must be taken.
And it's ridiculous because we all know why it was covered up. It wasn't because it made like some police chief look bad, or was it because it made some Labour politician, their policy look a bit awkward?
It was mass immigration. It was
massive. It was mass immigration. I mean, I think fucking Jack Straw publicly said it several times. Why? I mean, they don't want to antagonize the Pakistani community, and I know people like Tommy Robinson, the people in the country had make it a whole Muslim thing. I would say I don't know how much I buy into it. I think it's more of just an ethnic thing. I think it's an ethnic racial thing.
It's a third world thing, mate. It's a third world thing.
I would say I do think a lot of it, reason it is Pakistani, is because in some ways they view this as like some sort of cosmic revenge for the empire. That's something I've always thought. I think one of them even stated that in a court outburst.
They think white women are white sluts, and they think little white girls are white sluts. They say that repeatedly.
Yeah.
And look, you rightly, William Grenfell, mentioned that Morgoth always talks about this. One of the reasons that I am a friend of Morgoth is that he does always talk about this, and he never changes.
So I think it was Lothar Sheffield said that Horus does.
Horus does good stuff too. Yes. I like Horus.
I will admit,
Horus.
I know I like Horus as well. I both those chaps, they're excellent at what they do. The only reason I mentioned Morgoth was because I will admit I probably read Morgoth's Substack more than Horus's.
Oh look,
if I'm actually on this, but
we should have had Morgoth on our stream this evening, but he had a big storm and lost his internet, or he would have been on here. Now, when I'm always happy to have Morgoth on this stream, but when he says he might come on, I never announce it publicly because I'm not doing this to make my channel big, basically. But I'm very happy to have Morgoth on here, and he always talks about that. And I've done streams with Horus before, quite a few actually, and Horus is also always welcome on this stream. I am sorry. For you guys in the UK, do any of you still eat kebabs.
No,
I've actually never. I don't think I've ever really eaten a kebab. I think the only time is when we like bought one in M&S, but I've never gone to a kebab takeaway. I
so
the reason is quite. I mean, number one, where I live, up until recently, they weren't very common, but when they were around, or what I know of a lot of the kebab places, I can't look at those places without thinking of all the worst things that have happened in it relating to this story elsewhere.
It's even worse.
Yeah,
It's
I know
even
how bad it
worse.
is. Yeah, I know how bad it is. That's why I don't.
What I'm trying to
Yeah.
say, William Grenville, is a kebab is mystery meat. Okay, because
Yeah, I know. That's why I didn't want to talk about it because
there
it's
are
disgusting as hell.
stories which
Yeah,
I find believable of little children who might have ended up as kebabs.
yeah.
This
Yeah,
is the state that Britain is in. This is the state that Britain is in. And our political leaders ignore it. They lie about it. And if you're Keir Starmer and the Labour Party, you absolutely help people who might be killing, murdering, and certainly were torturing little girls.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I basically I'm sworn off all foreign slop now. Basically.
Can I say my comment now?
Well, we just lost Mitch, sadly. But yeah, I guess you can.
No, my comment was that it's like what we're dealing with over in the US with Black Lives Matter and it's the same. Never mind. Anyway.
Yeah, it's
It
the
was
same people.
on
pushing it.
point at the moment. It's not now. So
It's the same people that support them. 100%. It is.
yeah.
except that we had riots on a higher level is what my point was. And I was saying that could absolutely be coming your way if that's what they're threatening. Because they will burn cities down like they did here.
I am sure that most people on this channel would have seen the photographs of two-tier Keir Starmer and Angela Rayner kneeling for Black Lives Matter. Did anyone ever see two-tier Keir Starmer or Angela Rayner kneeling for the victims of the grooming gangs?
I mean, I've sort of thought this for a while, and I see people are picking it up that that our government, if things start looking bad, they will just weaponize the Muslim mobs and just turn them loose on the public. And
but
people
they
sort
wouldn't
of
stand
thinking,
a chance.
Yeah, you saw a bit of it with the Southport, yeah.
But if the British guys stood together, the Muslim
I know
mobs
we'd win.
wouldn't stand a chance.
I know
they
we'd
wouldn't
win.
stand a chance.
But
Yeah,
that doesn't mean.
Yeah,
but the government will still try it.
Yeah, I mean, remember Southport? It was only. I mean, it wasn't. Not being funny. It was Southport. It was only really. I think the people who were rioting. I think probably what I would say several hundred. It was several hundred, right? It's probably no more than several hundred. And they had to. The government had to mobilize the entire, basically the entire
Muslim Defense League, sort of.
Yeah, basically like Pakistanis and Afghan, Bangladeshis and Asians had to mobilize the entire lot of them, as well as the Antifa, white liberals, and what have you, and Socialist Workers' Party types, the whole renter mob team. They had to mobilize their entire network against what 400 or 500 people.
Yeah, but you can imagine next time. Yeah, in Southport, they're ordered just leave your weapons at the mosque, lads. Next time, they probably won't be so bothered about that. Actually, you can bring your weapons along. Take them from the mosque.
I listen. If that happens, I hope it
does.
No,
yeah.
because there is a lot more of us than there are them.
Well, I
And
mean,
by and large, the average English and British man is a lot braver than the average
They get overconfident though, because they live in their ghettos and they think they already own everything. They think the whole country is like their ghettos. They get way overconfident with their numbers.
Well, I mean, we talked about the Soviet.
Hang on a sec, guys. Nostradamus, I've got a bad chest, have I? You are banned. See ya. Wouldn't want to be you. Sorry, carry on, guys.
I was going to say,
banning someone from the stream.
We talked about briefly the Soviet Union. I mean, in the Bolshevik Revolution, it was only really a number of, what was it? It was in St. Petersburg, and it was the Bolsheviks, which weren't the largest political movement in Russia at the time. I mean, they were noticeable, they were large, but what they was that they had the backing of the sailors, which they had a large number of. But I think it was as a core group, it was only really like several thousand. It wasn't like a large it wasn't like they had like tens of millions of people at hand. I mean, that came later, but it's not. My point is, any sort of action or anything, it's numbers. People get confused. Really, I don't think numbers are that important in that sense.
Organization is important.
Yeah,
leadership is important, because you can't get people to decide anything. Like a little group like us can't decide what are we going to do. Mostly, it's leadership is important. It really is.
Like in Mexico, they're having that. The few weeks ago, having the riots against the government, but there's no leaders. It's just anger, and of course, it didn't go anywhere. Nothing happened.
No, you need a Nelson or a Wellington or somebody like that to actually say, yeah, okay, we're going to do this, this, and this. So long as your guys are good guys, they'll go and do what you tell them. But then, look at Wellington's, his brother-in-law, for example, in the War of 1812. He wasn't the brightest tool in the shed, so he fucked it up. I mean, all right, people say the Admiral interfered, but I don't think it was really that. Like, Wellington would never have done that attack. But, whatever. Listen, guys, all we're talking about this evening is defending little British children as young as 11. Little British girls as young as 11 who should be playing with dolls and doll houses and stuff like that, not being mass raped or tortured or branded or any of the other things that have actually happened in Britain. And until Britain deals with this, all British men should be ashamed. Until we deal with this, Britain is not the country it used to be that ran a third of the world and a quarter of the world's population.
Andrew, guess who in the past, not so recent past, has played down the scope of the grooming gangs and also denied that places like London today are effectively,
Guess who? Go on, tell me.
Danny Finkelstein from earlier on in the show.
Oh, what a shame. Oh, that's amazing. I mean, I would have expected it from the London mayor, who comes from that group. Wouldn't really have expected it from Danny Finkelstein, for God's sake. I mean, why would he do that?
Well, obviously he's not on the side of Team Mum, is he? Mummy, Team Mum and Dad. Team Mum and Dad, genocide.
Does he have anything to say about Jewish terrorists hanging British NCOs?
Freedom fighters, 9
Shall I go? I'll go ask my bar of soap and lampshades. Shall I?
Did he have anything to say about that, or blowing up the King David Hotel full of British women and children? Did he have anything to say about that?
Well, no, it's all justified. It's all justified.
We obviously had it covered.
Did he have anything to say about the Israeli Air Force and Navy killing loads of Americans on the USS Liberty? Did he have anything to say about that?
No such ship exists, Iron Duke. That's a conspiracy theory.
It
never happened.
And also, like, there's a come on, that happened like ages ago. What was it? What's that? Ben Shapiro? He said that happened ages ago.
Meanwhile,
how long was 45 compared to that?
Well, exactly.
Wasn't that even more ages ago?
Their grudges go back a lot further than that.
They go back 2,000 years.
I mean, they still go to like Trajan's column and like flick it off like
there's a menorah on it.
I've actually got a very, very, very interesting book on Hadrian, of course, which was the famous Roman Jewish War, which resulted in, what was it, 135, I think, and
about that, yeah.
It resulted in, because you the first rebellion where you had like this time you had like Josephus and what have you, and Vespasian, his son Titus, which Titus sort of destroyed Jerusalem, and then you had the Bar Kokhba rebellion, who was that self-professed messianic leader. I'll name the book in a second. I'm just going to try and bring it up, but it sort of, it does actually go into and I think, see if I can find it, but it does go into it was actually it was from the history of Christianity book I got by Rodney Stark, of all people. There you go, Rodney Stark, history of the church, and it's like they did rise up and did slaughter, like, not just the non-Jews, but also Christians at the time who were still somewhat Jewish, part of the Jewish world at that point, and they just went around slaughtering, and this all-out rebellion humiliated Rome, and that's why they responded by sending, what was it, like 8 legions or something mad like that. It was a huge invasion. It's huge invasion.
Do you know what I find is funny, William Grenville, right? Is that we will get people like Finkelstein talking about the politics of victimhood is not sustainable, right? But they'll still happily let the Royal Air Force go and intercept drones sent from Iran towards Israel. They're quite happy for that to happen. They don't mind about that. That's all right.
Well, that is what you do for your greatest ally, though.
Oh yeah, because they are our greatest ally.
And I
always think when I think back to those British NCOs who were hung by Jewish terrorists, I always think they're our greatest ally.
And the thing is, when they did all that, they were saying to themselves, they were invoking the Bar Kokhba like as an example. It's just like in Romans, we're gonna and I always think back to like the Masada, the fortress and everything, and you have that scene in like Sopranos, and it's like 400 Jews stood against like the Romans, like and
they all died.
And it says, and the Jewish people still good, but where are the Romans today? And you have like Tony Soprano, who's like, you're looking at them, arsehole. And it's like,
Well, I mean, also, I hang on, I'm going to lose my train of thought here. But yeah, you've also got to look at watch that. What's that crappy, really shit Paul Newman movie, guys?
Oh, is it Exodus? Is it Exodus?
Exodus, yeah, Exodus.
Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
the British soldiers are literally portrayed as World War II Nazis.
Yeah.
They are literally portrayed that way.
I know it's ridiculous.
But it's a Hollywood movie, and guess who made it?
Oh, I have a feeling.
Yeah, guess.
A Swedish man.
Yeah, absolutely, it was. It was made by a Swede. Yeah.
The Portuguese.
Yeah.
The Portuguese problem is very underrated, mate. But yeah, no. But honestly, go watch that shit film, which I watched the first time when I was about 9 years old, and thought, this is the most anti-British film I've ever seen. And Paul Newman, Exodus. It's shit. It's total shit, basically.
I mean, isn't there like a part 2 of the film? There's like a part 1 and part 2.
No idea. I can't remember. I haven't watched it twice.
I think I've seen like part 1 once, and I just found it boring, to be honest. I just like it doesn't really do anything for me, to be honest.
Somehow the evil British are stopping enough Jewish people arriving in Palestine to steal their land. That's what's going on, basically. But, we should have allowed them to steal their land without the least bit of interference. But you know what? I don't give a shit about Israel, really. I'm pretty neutral about it because I don't like the people who hate Israel either, because they're all evil bastards. And all I want to do is stay out of these ridiculous Middle Eastern wars that have nothing to do with Britain. That's my view. Don't give a shit. Iran can pummel Israel. Israel can pummel Iran. I don't care. Not even in the least degree. I would not risk one single British grenadier for Israel. Or for Iran.
Well, I'm sure when you were serving Northern Ireland, I'm sure you remember the huge sacrifice that Israel made to help you out, right?
Oh, absolutely. There were so many Israeli Defense Force soldiers in Belfast, you wouldn't believe it. They were going around, they were singing, small hats, there were menorahs everywhere. Yeah, I never noticed any of that, actually. But,
I mean, it is annoying, though, how the loyalists, or a lot of loyalists, sort of like side with, like to fly the Israeli flag.
I don't agree with you, William Grenville. I never noticed that, but if you say so, okay.
I know, but when I mean, every time I see like a documentary or video where people go through, like East Belfast or something like that.
Never seen it.
I can show you some pictures if you want.
Mate, I have seen many photographs of the Provisional IRA and Sinn Féin flying Palestinian flags. Never seen much from the loyalists supporting Israel. Never have. Like, they're not like Tommy Robinson. In any Tommy Robinson demo you go to, you'll find loads of Israeli flags, usually over the top of Union flags. Because Tommy Robinson is an Israel shill who is paid lots of money by rebel media, etc. But I've never seen the loyalists do that, to be honest. And I really hope you haven't, William Grenville.
I'm actually sending it. I hate to tell you, I'm actually.
Great, mate. Thank you so much. Sometimes I wonder about the intelligence quotient of people I'm talking to. But good on you, William Granville. Good on you.
No. Don't you worry. But look, my point is on this. The only reason they do it, if I was to guess, is just because their opponents, the Sinn Féin and what have you, fly the Palestinian flags.
Who totally support Palestine. Yes.
Yeah, to support Palestine. That's why they do it. I don't know if that's a good enough reason, but whatever, it doesn't matter.
Guys,
that's
next
why
time I want my guests to be more intelligent and spot things. But I'm sorry.
tired. I'm drunk and I'm tired. Look, what do you want me to do?
Mate, if you don't think I'm always drunk, apparently I am told I was only in the British Army to look after the rum ration. I was told this by somebody I used to stream with. So there you go. Don't worry about
it. To be honest, the worst drunk sort of thing I've seen on stream was Mac from
the game streaming channel,
Game Street. He did the Game Awards, and
but you know what? He was better doing that totally legless drunk than the actual game streaming channel. He was still.
I mean, the best bit was he fell off his chair. The mic went with him, and then he managed to with his laptop, and then he just switched off the gaming the stream, and then put on Supertramp, the Logic song. I mean, for me, that was just like the best. That was the best moment of the entire night.
Yeah, no, it was great. I watched that. I watched Mac. What's he called? William?
Worth a buy, I think.
Worth a buy. He's easily, by a long way, the best game reviewer on the internet. And he's a really good Northern English dude. And he has a woman, which is always good. And he also has a really lovely and beautifully trained German Shepherd dog. And so anyone who has a German Shepherd dog and a woman, as far as I'm concerned, is a good Englishman. And Max cool.
He did bring down. He did bring it down though. That stream. I think because number one, I think he felt probably a bit embarrassed about it, but I think also he got a bit of a bollocking from his wife because he promised not to, or his partner because he promised not to drink. So,
any man who promises not to drink is promising too much, if you ask me. But I'm quarter drunk sometimes, and I'm getting there today. But this is our last stream of 2025, and I feel like I should be able to. I don't know. We're talking about minor shit like this, William, when a few minutes ago we were talking about 11-year-olds being mass raped, branded, tortured, humiliated, sent around the country in the back of cabs. I don't know. I think there's a very big difference between those two things.
Well, yeah, the trouble is, what can we do about it? I mean, we talked about the Fuentes interview. I mean, at the end of the day, it was, I mean, you could say that, while there's an element of importance of it, all it has done is it's given bloody Morgan Finkelstein views and publicity. It's given Fuentes views and publicity. It hasn't really changed anything.
I don't like either of them. Yeah, absolutely. But on the other hand, like Fuentes, much as I don't really like him because of his Catboy stuff, and his gayness, he was still way better than Piers Morgan.
Oh yeah, easily, yeah. I mean, it was just the tactics of Morgan was ridiculous. I've never seen anything so ridiculous in my life. I mean, and what made it worse? I think he genuinely thought he won.
I wish we still had
he
Mitch
was.
on.
He was.
I wish we
that,
still had Mitch on here to talk about that. But yeah, absolutely. Sorry, Tharium, carry on.
I was saying, Piers Morgan, he was posting tweets like, Nick Fuentes annihilated.
Yeah.
I don't like Nick Fuentes, let me be clear. But you know what? He destroyed Piers Morgan.
Yeah.
So, hang on. Here we have a comment. No more Splendid Isolation, y'all. What the hell are we supposed to do with our sizes between now and the new year? We will talk about that a little bit in a short time about on the stream.
How about you go outside, you bloody nerd?
Yeah, touch grass. That's always good. Aubrey Ali, did you have anything you wanted to say? You are muted, by the way.
Well, yeah, I've been muted now this whole time, so no, I don't. I'm not gonna.
You don't? Okay.
Well, I did, but I don't anymore. So.
Well, that's okay. But I'm glad you survived your burglars the other evening, and that you called the cops and they arrived, and that's all good.
I've got a question, if you don't mind, Aubrey. What is your opinion on the kind of MAGA civil war with like Candace Owens and stuff?
Yeah, so I am not supposed to bring up Ben Shapiro's name, but it has kind of started with that. I think that's where a big part of it started. Candace Owens, I think, lost her mind a little bit. I used to like her, and now she's talking about the moon landing not even being credible. She's just kind of lost it. But yeah, I don't know. I think I don't know. It's funny. So I don't know if I should say this or not, but the somebody I know is a lobbyist in in the DC area, and he was saying to me that Trump is that he's been a lifelong Republican, but he was saying that Trump is suffering from Alzheimer's and saying or dementia.
That's a lie.
He said that he's got inside information from way high up, and I was like, are you sure you're not confusing that with our previous president? And he said, oh no, you just wait, this is coming out. I'm sorry, but I don't believe that to be the truth. I think that Trump, when he's out there,
that's a lie, or reality. That is a lie.
I think when Trump is out there, I think that he does a great job, and I think
Trump is often very funny.
He's hilarious.
Yeah, he just says things that occurs to him, but he is not suffering.
He's a businessman. He's not a politician, and that's the thing. But
he's a 90s Democrat. For God's
he doesn't
sake,
play the game that they want him to play, and so I don't know. This MAGA thing. The thing is that they're trying to separate. Do you not think that this is a Soros-based thing?
I think
because it absolutely is.
I think Candace Owens might well be a Fed. This is sort of
No,
Yeah.
I can see this as a failure.
Yep.
I don't even know if I think she's just an idiot. I just think
She could just be grifting, but
I think she
I
got
also wouldn't
pregnant.
be surprised.
Isn't
And-
Candace Owens paid for by Ben Shapiro?
No. That's where there was a whole war there, and that's when she started to.
But that's when she said she didn't like Israel.
No. She said that she got fired for saying "I love Jesus," which is bullshit. And I know you don't like Ben, but Matt Walsh and Michael Knowles.
I don't not like him. I hate him, but
Matt Walsh and Michael Knowles are both. They talk about their faith. Matt Walsh, in particular, is Catholic. He talks about it all the time. I listen to him every day. And
Aubrey
what?
Let me ask you, sorry. Have you seen that video of Charlie Kirk's widow over his body?
Over what?
Have you seen the video of Charlie Kirk's widow over his body?
No.
It's quite disturbing.
You mean from the funeral?
Yes.
So Candace Owens is actually being a bitch about his widow, which is a sick thing anyway. And she's making these videos now talking about how Charlie Kirk, feeding into these conspiracy theories that he wasn't killed by this kid, that he was killed by. And you know, who knows if he's obviously like probably a patsy from the left, or he's just been brainwashed by the left.
I think he was killed by
Candace. Yeah, he absolutely was. I mean, do you think that kid's parents wouldn't be speaking out if it was like some conspiracy? I mean, it's ridiculous, and it would have been pulled off better.
I've seen recently, like saying that actually, you know, this is from like people, not Candace Owens, but from like people from her in her comment section and stuff, saying actually it was a detonator like embedded in his shirt and his vest or whatever. I've seen saying that
bollocks. It was a bullet. It was a bullet.
And then it's like, oh, somebody was in the crowd with a handgun or like a concealed gun. And as when Unduke was the one, you were the one that first informed me about this when it happened, and you said like right off the bat it was a rifle. It was a rifle.
There
was a cop in the audience there that, I mean, he was doing security, a local cop, and he heard that and knew it was a rifle right off the bat. So he started looking for places where snipers would be, and he went running that way, and you know that's when But Candace Owens
Aubrey Alley. The only strange thing to me is they didn't look for places snipers could be before the event.
Well, isn't it funny? Just like Trump when he was shot at.
That's a bit
his Secret
weird.
Service.
That was really quite close, wasn't it?
Candace Owens played this video on her show. This guy's video that he demonstrates using the same type of weapon that that this guy used, and Tyler Robinson, I guess, and it's this dummy head, but it looks like it's like this gelatinous material, and it's just from like the neck up. And so he demonstrates that it would have absolutely blown him apart. Well, that's not what the body is made of. You know, the body is not made of jello. And so she's like feeding into these conspiracy theories. And so now you've got all these people like all split. And, you know, that's what the left is trying to do. They're trying to get into the MAGA group. They're trying to break us apart.
Do you think it's going to hurt the midterms?
I do. I think
like Candace Owens gets insane amount of viewers.
She does.
Really, which is a bit concerning, really, how popular
I know.
she is.
And you know, I've seen her testify before Congress and Senate, and she used to kill it. I mean, I liked her, but I don't know if pregnancy got her or something, and I'm a girl saying this, so whatever, but she's just she's gone crazy. She's gone nutty. So
I
I don't
think
know.
I
It's a
think the
shame.
assassin. I think what happened. This is just a guess because I've seen it when the assassination of Charlie Kirk happened because it was filmed. It was very
Mhm.
gruesome. It was a gruesome. It
Oh,
was
I've seen
absolutely
it. It
yeah.
was
It
horrible.
was a gruesome. I've noticed people like even Nick Fuentes, Stephen Crowder. A lot of them have done and do public events, and I think it spooked them. It really did
Right.
spook them because if I mean, number one, the reason why Nick he went off for like a couple of weeks where he just didn't stream. Crowder
Hmm.
stopped public events and stuff because initially because it was like, oh shit, they will do this. And I listen. I don't believe it was like the French government or
The
Israel or anything
Egyptians.
like, or the
No.
Egyptians or anything like that.
Yeah. The
It
Egyptians.
was it was just some like sad
Right.
lefty person who was terminally online on Reddit. I mean, like here's
With
a
a
good example.
trans affiliation.
Yeah, I'm part of.
With this.
I have like I'm a member of many Discord servers. There was one group Discord server which is like it's like an old gaming one which I've been part of for years and years and years
Don't
before
dox yourself, William Granville.
No, I won't
It's
do.
not.
It's an old gaming server, and I found out that one of the members on there, one of the mods, you could say, or admin people, is an Antifa person, and I look at like
Oh
because I haven't been on
God.
there, and you just see like straight up, anyone who promotes any sort of moderate, a moderate level of traditional value or whatever. Because I'm assuming I think he's American. It's all like, it's what American politics and it's like literally a Nazi. And these people do exist.
Right.
These people do exist, and people like him, yeah, they think that Charlie Kirk was literally Hitler. And
Oh
yes,
yeah.
it sounds deluded, but they are deluded. And I
Well,
mean, yeah, and people did. I mean, the thing was, a guy who did murder two people did turn up at Fuentes' house to kill him as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
yeah, I mean, so yeah, it is
But
for
see,
a
this
lot of
goes to
them.
your point of what you guys were talking about the threats that over in your country now that this is what the left does. This is what the Somali people are doing in Dearborn and whatever
Mm,
and they're threatening to throw riots and throw fits and burn cities down like Black Lives Matter did, and it's effective. And
Hmm.
and we don't do anything about it. And what do? They infiltrate our schools. And look at like these kids that are so disaffected. These cisgender kids now. These guys that are not having sex because and the girls that won't have sex with guys because it's like they're causing just all this chaos, and that's
I
exactly what somebody wants to do that wants to take Western civilization apart.
I think also a problem that you got is that
Few
this
things are easier than having sex with women, guys. Honest, it's not
but
that hard.
with
Even if you have fairly high standards about what the girl looks like, it's not that hard, boys.
uh, but with this Tyler the assassin, a lot of these wokesters, I mean, he's probably like the youngest of that generation of like we call the woke period, where the left went,
Hmm.
on this sort of like this the silliness of the wokeness stuff. And what you got now is a lot of the woke stuff, like the actual like culture war stuff, has been and is been at the moment, it, it it's been or whether it's been put away or it's changed. And the thing is, they're getting to that age now where they're going from like teenagers, like children, teenagers, to adults, and as you said, they're isolated, and
Hmm.
probably
Angry.
a lot of them are going to be angry and resentful because they will
Right.
feel that they're that because effectively they made that whole like fad, which it was a
Hmm.
fad, their whole personality,
Hmm.
and they invested a lot of time and resources into defending it, and suddenly like the culture has moved on from them. And unfortunately, you're going to see a lot more of this, and they're going to be. You're going to have like these.
Right.
I mean, people say Fuentes being an insult on the right. I mean, you're going to have a lot of like. I think like left wing incels.
Right.
I think you have a lot of like left wing socially awkward. I mean, I don't even think
Almost
Fuentes is socially awkward. I don't think he's a socially awkward person at all. I think he sort of plays on that bit, but I think, but you're going to have people on the left who are effectively radicalized, terminally
right.
online.
Right. We're going to have
And then, like,
shootings, just like the school
Yeah.
shootings. I mean, it's the same demographic, the same like profile of a person is the person that's a
And-
school shooter that does
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, and imagine the ones who've done like sort of trans stuff or something, so they permanently damage themselves because of this.
Right. Right.
And I can guarantee you they are all on antidepressants, SSRIs.
Oh,
So they feel
absolutely.
Yeah,
they're just dead
100,
inside.
100,
So that
100.
they're just so they're just dead
Right.
inside. They feel nothing.
Right. And you know, having that surgery only amplified whatever the problems were at heart
Yeah.
anyway in the
Well,
beginning.
look at the guy who shot Charlie Kirk. His boyfriend was a supposedly trans person who was also a furry, for God's sake. Yeah,
So creepy.
And he came from a pre-traditional
Yeah.
right-wing American family, and they didn't just say, "Look, if you don't stop this, we're
Well,
going to."
they may not have known because he was living with
No,
this
they
guy.
did. No, they did. They didn't because.
But what are they going to do? You know, he's an adult. He's living on his own. You know, at that
Well,
point,
look. My son is a very good,
yeah,
very heterosexual Royal Navy officer who goes around the world fucking every woman he can find.
Oh, for God's sake!
No, pretty much he does, and good luck to him. You know,
Yeah.
because
no
they're pretty girls. You know, and good luck to him. But you know what? If he was into somebody who was
A furry?
a bloke pretending to be a girl or a furry, I would say, I'm never ever going to speak to you again, son. And I hope he would take that seriously. Like, I don't care if he goes around the world screwing every.
Well, of course you don't care about that. Of course you don't, because you did it too. So
yeah,
you
some
did.
degree. To some
Yeah, you
degree.
did.
Not as good as him though, because I wasn't a Royal Navy Fleet Air Arm officer, so he has a huge advantage over me. I was a mere soldier, so you know he's got a great advantage over me. Better uniform, cooler job, that sort of thing. But if he was not doing that, I would turn around and say to him, "You and I are finished, mate." You know?
My God.
I really would.
Yeah,
think,
it'd be tough to have a son that was a furry. I mean, it's a sick.
Yeah, but wouldn't every man do that? I think they should.
I think a lot of these parents would probably not be aware, but you know, here's the thing that I think now is happening is that it's gotten you know the schooling has changed so much, and this whole trans thing has taken such hold that I know some kids in my neighborhood that they are now identifying from one day to the next as straight or lesbian or gay or trans or whatever. It's like the cool thing for I'm talking like middle school age, and which it would be like 12, 13, 14 and below, because they're teaching this in the schools. And so they've gone in degrees of gradation with you know, they started with homosexuality being okay in our schools, and when I was in high school and all the way down.
It's also in like social, like if you, I mean, TikTok, Instagram, all that sort of stuff.
Right.
It's wall-to-wall coverage of that, like their favorite, social content creator or whatever you call them. Promoting that, TV shows, music.
Oh,
I mean, it's
movies,
just
Disney movies now.
Disney
That
movies.
Miss Rachel, she's all pushed some trans stuff.
Yeah,
I mean, they're having drag
total.
queens read to little kids, for God's sakes.
It's total. It's in the real world, and it's in the metaphysical, the metaphysical sort of world for children growing up, and
it's in the libraries now that they have days that are drag queens coming to read to young kids. And I don't know what it's going to take for the right to wake the fuck up and stand up, because it's like, I don't know, the right, we always do this. We just kind of let it happen and let it roll, and like, it's time to fucking stand up. Pardon my language, but to stand up and do something about this. And I don't know what it's going to take.
Well, that's why, I mean,
don't swear, Aubrey Ellie. You're a woman. You shouldn't swear.
Oh my God, you sound like my ex-husband.
This is why the Conservatives, why they don't do anything. And this is why people go to the political extremes, because the Conservatives have nothing to offer to counter it, and they never do.
Right.
And I mean, what are you going to?
We don't go and burn cities down. We don't go and shoot people that we disagree with. You notice that it's not the right that does this stuff, this crazy stuff. And, I really hope that Charlie Kirk's death, I feel like there has been a good movement behind it. There are a lot of schools now that they've started the chapters that he, for his company, or his foundation that he started. And Erica Kirk is, I give her props. I mean, she's a strong woman, and she's, I think, going to continue the fight. But I hope that wakes some people up, because it's shown the true colors of how sick these people are. I mean, at heart, he was an American, whether you agree with his politics or not, and he was killed in front of a bunch of students. For God's sakes.
And his 2 children and his wife.
Right.
But,
and nobody had to talk to him. He didn't chase people around on campus. He set his little, table up and said, "Come talk to me, change my mind." So
I did hear
a
story
I'm going to be so I'm going to be honest. The whole, when it comes to people like Candace Owens, Ian Carroll, and Milo, maybe even Tim Pool a bit, and they're talking about about Charlie Kirk, like he was going to expose the Jews and everything, like days before his death, and he predicted his death and dreams and all sorts of weird stuff. I mean, I don't like any of this discourse. I find it very disturbing, because he's dead. That's one. I mean, the most obvious one, he's dead. So he's not here to defend that.
Right.
I don't really believe that, because number one, there was no. I listen. I think him and Turning Point. He was a dedicated Zionist, and also just a bog standard conservative to the end. He.
I mean, mostly he was a Christian.
Hang on. William Grenville, do you think he was a bog standard Zionist? Do you?
Yeah, I do. I do think.
Yeah,
I think
don't
he was.
agree with you. I don't agree
think
with
so.
you on that. I don't agree with you on that, but okay.
He didn't talk much about Israel at all. His concerns were, and this is what he would always say, was his concerns were with our country. And he was very strong about, we need to fix our country and not even care about any other country in the world right now. We've got to fix our country. And so, I don't.
I think Aubrey Ellie, on that particular question, you're probably right. William, I don't agree with you. He was a bog standard Zionist. He was not a big mate of Ben Shapiro, etc. as far as I can
he
work
was
out.
he's friendly with that group. I mean, because they're all
He
the
was.
conservative right speakers.
Yeah,
So
he was friendly with Shapiro. I mean,
yeah,
he did
he
All
like
right,
streams and stuff.
okay,
no,
okay.
no. Listen, he's not a part of the Daily Wire, but he is. Well, let me speak. He's not a part. He's a part of the right, but he's not a part of the Daily Wire group that Ben Shapiro is. So they were kind of uh, considered like contemporaries, but not like in the same circle.
Yeah.
Aubrey Alley, I
What?
am not trying to not let you speak, but you have
Mhm.
to understand something, right? There
God.
are people on my stream
Yes.
who are far more anti-Zionist than I am, right? But
Yeah.
you know what? I'm pretty anti-Zionist, to be honest.
Okay.
And all I would say is, I was just trying to point out, Charlie Kirk was not desperately involved with Ben Shapiro. He
No.
wasn't.
No.
And
And I
William,
can speak to
if
that.
William Grenfell says he was, that's not true, as far as I can work out.
No.
Well,
And I listened
he
to
did like do content with Ben Shapiro,
right.
and he has publicly stated for
But
several times. He said how Israel changed his life, strengthened his faith in the Bible and stuff like that. And he wasn't talking about Israel in like old
right.
Israel in the Bible. He's talking about modern Israel, and
Well, but
he
he's
talked.
talking about it being the place of from a Christian standpoint, though, that it's
Well,
the Holy Land, as you know.
I don't know enough about the whole Pentecostic stuff to
William,
yeah.
did
Yeah,
he not say, not all that long before he was
Yeah.
killed,
He seemed
that
to
he
be
had
having.
issues with Israel
he did.
and America? Yes, he did, didn't
He
he?
did. He
Are
did,
you
and
telling?
that's a
Please stop, Aubrey Alley. William, did he say that or not?
Well, that he said that he
Had
had
issues with
issues.
Israel. Yeah.
yes.
Did he say that he had issues with Israel and America not all that long before he was shot? Because I know he did. I've watched the videos.
Yeah, he was jumping on the. I mean, yeah, he did. But what's important is this was at a time when you had a lot of people from that,
Mhm.
the centre right and stuff, even like Crowder and people like that were saying, actually, I don't think we should be. I mean, I think it was basically saying, well, we should be prioritizing Israel like we do, and and everything. And this was at a time when, at the same time he said that, Trump was telling Netanyahu he needs to stop going into the West Bank and stop the bombing of Gaza.
All right.
So
William
So-
Grenville, please, Aubrey Alley, stop for
Oh
a minute.
my God.
I'll let you talk in a minute. I promise I will. William Grenville, the point I'm trying to make to you here is that, you see, if we were four left-wingers on a stream, this argument would never come up, right? If this was four lefties on a stream, what we are talking about at the moment would never, ever come up, because lefties don't attack other lefties. They just don't. But what we have here is you, because you are fairly anti-Zionist, and I'm very anti-Zionist, all right? But you know what? There are times when I don't bring it up on a stream, because
I mean, I'm not saying it's.
I'm almost as intelligent as the left. Almost, not quite, but almost. That's all I'm trying to say to you, William.
Yeah, I mean, I get that, and look, I mean, Rupert Lowe, I don't know his exact policy on it. Some posts he appears to be quite Zionist. Some posts he doesn't. I'm not saying it as a way to denigrate. I yeah, I would say ultimately Kirk, was an American patriot. Certainly.
Yes.
Did
Yes.
he join in and let's not be coy about it. If you want to get anything done in politics on the right, if you like, from a purely Machiavellian point of view, you have to somewhat get in bed with these people, and that's the worst thing about it. Now, is it that he was bullied by that super PAC, or he had pressure on, or so? I don't know. Maybe because that particular PAC is very powerful in America, particularly within conservative circles. So yes, that's definitely the case. Was he in league with them? Maybe he was. Maybe he wasn't. Probably he was, if I'm absolutely honest. But at the same time,
maybe he was drifting away before he was killed. Will he?
Well, that's the thing. But that's the thing. We will never know because unless someone knows him. But the thing is, with Candace Owens, what she's been doing is she's been like saying, I've been having dreams and visions and stuff, and it's just ridiculous.
I have no time for Candace Owens at all. All right, even when she agrees with me, it's by accident. Okay, I have no time for Candace Owens at all. If she agrees with me, it's a pure accident. My point, William, is that, like, if we were four guys on the left, which is unimaginable, or sorry, three guys and a woman on the left, which is unimaginable, we would not have argued about this. Whereas me and you are. Please stop, Aubriani.
Oh my God. Okay. I'm gonna just.
I honestly, you can have your say in a minute, all right? William, you and I would not have argued about this at all. Whereas, like, you know what? I was never an enormous Charlie Kirk fan. I have no time for Israel. I have no time for small hats. But you know what? In Britain, this is a secondary deal. In America, it's much, much bigger. But you know what? I don't care what Charlie Kirk really thought.
Yeah, but the difference is the left are largely lobotomized idiots. Because if we were left wing, the left wing version of me should be saying, why is it so many of proponents of like what you would call left wing woke causes come from corporate America or corporate Britain?
Or corporate certain religions. I'd agree.
Yeah,
but you know what? But William, you have to look at your basic audience, and this is not our core audience. Our core audience knows exactly what we're talking about. But if you're talking about the people that, say, Piers Morgan was trying to appeal to versus Nick Fuentes, those guys don't get this. And we have to get brighter at not being so fucking stupid. All right? And, you know, I've had people say to me, oh, you can't be anti-Winston Churchill because everyone thinks Winston Churchill was a great Englishman, even though he was half American. Okay? I don't agree with that. I can change that because Winston Churchill was half American. And if you look at everything he did in his life, it was probably more pro-American than pro-British. But then he called his mother, who was an American hoe, basically, a fairy queen. So you can kind of work out why he did that. But you have to be realistic about these things. You have to be. You know, William, you're one of my best friends in many respects, but you have to see this. Because if you don't, you're never going to get through to a dimwit normie who watches adverts every 10 minutes.
Well, the only way the only way and I think every normie would admit this is, do you want to be a slave or do you want to be free? I mean, that's when it comes down to that. I mean, if we distill it down to its most practical
do you want to be a freeborn Englishman or a slave?
And I don't mean slave like physical in chains. I mean also mentally. That stunt by by Finkelstein, and also the American right, in the Republican Party. I mean, the reason why the Republican Party is tearing itself apart as well is because you've got super PACs and PACs within the party, which are causing that drift, and who don't have America's. They're not don't have America's interests at heart. What was Trump's core message? Putting America first. That was the Republican platform. That was
100%.
That was the and they want to put Elon Musk and tech and corporate America and this and that and other nations first, and that's what's tearing the coalition apart. And I think for us, any clear message is listen. No one tells us who we are. No one tells us what we do, who we worship, and particularly no one tells us who we should or shouldn't feel pity for, because pity, right, and stuff just breeds resentment anyway. I'm done with the resentment. I'm done with the pity and wanting apologies left, right, and center. No one and people who want you to feel guilt or bad, they're just like some mental. That they are a psychological slave master, in my view.
Yeah, look, I don't disagree, William. You're my friend for a reason, as everyone is who comes on this stream, pretty much. But yeah, we've got to wise up a bit, and not counter signal advantages to us. I noticed before we went live, Millennial Yule, and I like Millennial Woes, and I'm going on his channel on the 27th to do a Lady of Shalott memorial stream. Okay, and I like Millennial Woes, but he said to me this year, "Oh, I'll have you on Millennial Yule next year." I've only been doing these streams for 5 years. And do you know who was on as we went live? Do you want to know?
Oh, who?
It was that guy in Southeast Asia, the ex-heroin addict. What's his name?
Dangerfield.
Dangerfield was on Millennial Yule. Now, I'm sorry, guys, if you're a right-wing nationalist, I think I'd sooner have me on, or Alman on, or any of the people on this stream rather than Dangerfield. You know that?
I mean, yeah. I mean, to me, the only people that I really know vote UK Column, very good.
Yeah, I like them. They're good guys. Yeah.
The traditional British group, again, they've been around a very long time. They're part of the Old Monday Club.
Also good guys. Yep.
Yeah, they are the spiritual successors of the Monday Club, so they're excellent. I really enjoy their commentary.
I agree. Yep.
You of course you have people like Morgoth. I think Horus.
Morgoth and Horus are two of the very best DR right-wing people. Yeah, absolutely.
Ed Dutton, good.
Yeah, he's pretty good. Yeah, Ed Dutton. I don't mind him. Yep.
I watch a bit of his every now and then. Thomas Rousel, aka Survive the Jive.
Oh yeah, absolutely, 100%. Really like Tom Rousel. He Survive the Jive is a good guy, 100%.
I don't know if if they've done Voice of Wales. I don't know about those guys.
I do like the Welsh guy who has the lovely little dog. Based Welshman, he's pretty good.
Yeah.
His poor little dog has been ill a couple of times, and he obviously really cares about his dog, and quite rightly, because nice little dog, really good guy.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, you can't really be a British dude unless you like dogs. You just can't, because all good British people like dogs.
Yeah, 100%. But yeah, people like those. I mean, I to be honest, I've never really heard. I haven't heard of Dangerfield. I don't know what he's about or.
Oh, he's in Southeast Asia, and he's a self-confessed ex-heroin addict who somehow is right wing. I've never worked out why, but apparently he is. I've never really been able to see this, but apparently
I think it's basically just he's a bit racist. So that's right wing these days. That's far right.
Everybody is racist if they're not stupid. But yeah, okay.
Yeah, but I will be watching the Lady of Shalott tribute stream that I look forward to.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to doing that one. I think it'll be all right. And I hope we get lots of people, because Lady of Shalott was a real lady with a capital L, and there are very, very few of those women around these days.
Oh, particularly in right wing spaces. I mean, there are some e-girl types who jump from one bandwagon to the other. Of course, people like Aubrey and particularly Lady of Shalott, never liked that at all. They were the real ones, definitely.
Oh yeah, Aubrey Alley, I know, was fairly good friends with Lady of Shalott. Yeah, absolutely. And there are good women around. One of the things I would say to young men today is, don't expect to find an absolutely right-wing woman. You're never going to do it. What you have to do is meet a reasonably okay woman and convert her to being a right-wing. And that's not that difficult, really.
Some of us are right wing without our man converting us, by the way. Just we are.
Yes. Yeah, for sure.
I was from the time I was 16 or 17.
Yeah, you were a right-wing cheerleader, I know, Aubrey Allen. And she was too. I'm not joking. She was.
I mean, a few years ago, I went out on I had a date with and we got on, and then suddenly she went into a conversation of how, because what happened, Russia, you just had the invasion of eastern portion of Ukraine, and of course she was like, "Oh, isn't Putin terrible? Isn't this a terrible thing? That this is just," and it's like, you're right. You have to say, yes, whatever. It's just you ain't gonna. Yeah, it was just parroting the mainstream view on this, but you then have to think to yourself, yeah, it's just like whatever. It's not like important enough, is it?
I mean, she doesn't. She
just
probably
don't let her
really.
vote.
Yeah.
I mean, she probably doesn't.
In-house.
She probably doesn't really care either. It's just it's just a normal thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's virtue signaling, probably virtue signaling towards me, and I was like, I just went, oh yeah, it's all terrible situation out there, and it's just sort of shut it down like that, But
William Granville, your art stream. Would you like to talk about it, please?
Yes. So this Tuesday, 9 o'clock, we're going to be doing a top 3 British artists. Now, we've I think I don't. Have you heard anything from John D? I haven't. I haven't
Mate,
heard
I
anything.
have tried to get hold of him about 5 times. He hasn't been on X for the last 2 weeks. I wouldn't count on him. If he turns up, that'll be great. I hope he does, because he'd be really good to talk about British Isles. But yeah, I don't know. I can't get hold of him at the moment, mate.
Well,
And
no,
I was checking yesterday to see if he did a stream, but he hasn't done one for a couple of weeks. So
yeah. Well, no worries, because we've got a good panel anyway. We're going to be doing our top 3 British artists. I'm going to keep it. We'll keep our choices a secret till now, but we all know who we're going to pick. So
I think it's 3 each, isn't it?
it's 3.
Willie?
It's 3 each. It's 3 each. I've and what's quite good is we haven't actually all chosen the same. I mean, you have like the most obvious ones like Turner and Constable, as you can imagine, but we've also picked. I've picked from those who, well, who I find particularly interesting, and so we all each of us have got different people. We're not overlapping, so I'm looking
know
forward
for
to
a
it.
fact, William Granville, that although my first one is probably the greatest British artist, the other 2 are probably like the most naive. Like real artists would probably despise my other 2, but they can do that. I picked one.
Well,
I picked one for army things and one for naval things, and that's okay.
one of my artists, he's actually like he's like the inverse of Turner, if that makes sense. Like if Turner's the master of lights, this guy's like the opposite of that. It's really and then
Turner, and this is one of the things I'm gonna try and bring out on this art stream. Turner was an impressionist before the French impressionists had even worked out what impressionist meant.
Yeah,
That makes no sense at all. Just saying.
That's because you're a girl. If you think about it,
Okay. Yeah. Okay. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and go right now. So
stop it, Aubrey Ali. Please don't.
I'm sorry. I've not been able to even speak this whole freaking time, so that's okay.
Aubrey Ali, I promise. After William Grenville is finished, you can speak as much as you want. All right. But I would also say this.
Yeah.
Do you know who the French Impressionists were?
Yes, of course I do.
Of course you do. Right. Turner was a French Impressionist before the French had realized Impressionism was a thing. It does actually make sense if you look at their paintings.
Okay. If French Impressionism doesn't exist, how can French Impressionist? It doesn't make sense, but keep going.
All right. Look at some of Turner's paintings, all right?
That's not, I don't have a problem with you saying that, but I'm just saying what you said.
All right. The thing is, Turner was doing impressionist things with light probably 30 or 40 years before the French Impressionists were.
I get it, but French Impressionism didn't exist yet. The French Impressionists didn't exist to recognize it. Never mind. It's a chicken.
Well, what I'm trying to say,
I get your point. I get your point. Just okay.
He was kind of an English impressionist.
Yes, I get your point.
Okay. Then I don't know why I was saying that was illogical.
Nothing. Never mind.
All right. I'm sorry. William, please finish and plug your stream because I want people to watch it.
Top 3 British artists, Tuesday. Got a sort of full stack panel, so do check that out on my channel, William Grenfell, or AI Shy Tory. It still comes up with the same channel, and I'll be sharing the links to that stream, as well as social media and Discord as well, shortly.
Yeah, look forward to that, guys. It's partly, by the way, an answer to Carl Benjamin claiming that, Italian art was so much better than British art, which was bollocks. But, whatever. This is a British channel. You may eventually realize this if you watch it enough. But, yeah. Or reality. Anything you want to plug or talk about?
No.
God, now I feel like a bad guy. This is how easy it is for women to make you feel like a bad guy. Anyway, or reality, thank you very much for joining our last stream of 2025. You are a very fine American girl, and you're always most welcome on this channel. So, yeah. Tharium, anything you want to plug, mate?
No. Happy Christmas, everyone.
Thank
Hope you have a good holiday.
Same to you.
Yeah, happy Christmas to everybody.
Yeah, happy Christmas and a happy New Year and all that.
Yep, absolutely. And that is a good segue, thank you, William, into on Wednesday next week, our final stream of the year is going to be a traditional British Christmas. It's going to be with Aaron Hook, who is a relative of Henry Hook, VC. And we're going to be talking about traditional British Christmases, because the ones we get today are really kind of a crossbreed between British and American and European and all the rest of it. British Christmases used to be a little bit different. And so we're going to be talking about those on Wednesday. I think that will be interesting. I also think if I get bored enough, and I probably will, because I'm not doing anything over Christmas, I'll probably do an Ask Me Anything Q&A stream on about the 4th of January, which guests will be very welcome to join. I don't like doing streams on my own, as you guys may have noticed. So yeah, probably on the 4th of January we'll do that. 27th, I think, is on Millennial Yule, the Lady of Shalott Memorial stream. I'll be on that. And that's probably it, I think, guys. Any final thoughts from Tharium or Reality or William Grenville?
No, just like I said, happy holidays,
that's
everyone.
about it.
No, Christmas, everyone. Oh, look at it. I'm being infected with happy holidays. Awful.
You've even got a Christmas hat on, Tharium. I never wear those things. Not in reality and not on streams either. But anyway. Okay. Tharium, anything you want to plug, mate?
No.
William Grenville, would you like to plug your channel, sir?
Yeah, my channel, William Grenville or AI Shy Tory. Do check it out. We'll have the art stream and maybe stream over New Year's Eve over midnight, like I did last year and the year before.
Well, if you do that, William, please invite me because I'll be bored by then. So, yeah.
Yeah. I might just do like a Ask Me Anything sort of stream as well.
Yeah,
I'm thinking
of doing that on the 4th, and if you want to join, you're more than welcome. But yeah, if you do a stream on New Year's Eve, I might join that because I would be really drunk and it might be funny. Aubrey Alley, anything you want to plug?
No, I just want to be there for AI's Ask Anything because I will certainly have questions. I'd
Oh
like
dear.
to. Yeah. You know where I'm going.
Poor AI.
You know exactly where I'm going with that.
Poor
Oh
AI.
yeah.
I just enjoyed it so much, though. I really did.
Maybe part of my New Year's resolution, I'll do a part 2 and the
I
part 3.
would love to be there to hear that.
Yeah,
That will be funny.
I'll do like maybe one day I'll do like an in-person reading like somewhere. I'll do like when you go to the library and like you do like a imagine a forward, a re-release forwards by William Grenville.
Could I get you to like maybe read some of the like an excerpt from some of the smut books that are sent out there now as romance novels? Maybe the modern day transitioning from.
Yeah, sure, why not?
Yeah, I'd love that.
Aubrey Alley, the book you have to get William Grenville to read from is what's it called? 60
Minotaur
Shades of Grey or something like that.
Oh, 50 Shades of Grey. That's tame these
Shades
days.
Of Grey.
Yeah, it is tame. Oh, I can tell you worse.
I could tell you worse, but I'm not going to on this trip.
One of our MPs, Nadine Dorris, she used to write erotic women's fiction.
Mm-hmm.
And on another stream, I actually did read out a passage from it that I found.
Nice.
Yeah.
AI, could I write something and have you read it?
No. Sure, go for it.
No.
That'd be very fun. That'd be very fun.
Really make sure it's clean, Aubrey Alley.
Well, that's the point. It would not be. That's the fun.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
I know I know a very good sheer cleric who could run it through the morality police to censor it, and then I can we'll change a few words about, but we'll get it sorted. Don't worry.
Yeah.
This is the problem we face these days, guys. Is that your Sharia guys want women done up in burqas, and I really like women in mini dresses and stuff
and
like
6-inch heels.
Yeah, and 6-inch heels. I do. And you know what? That doesn't mean that I hate women. It means I like them. But, whatever.
I don't know. Maybe it's the genetic Puritan in me. Maybe it's just trying to. He's trying to like burst out, and it's having to suppress it. I don't know.
But so you like the good girls? You're saying like the good girls that are good on the outside, bad on the inside at home?
Yeah.
That's okay. There you go. There you go. I knew what you were getting at.
Okay. Aubrey Alley gets William Grenville.
My God.
Okay. That's good. That's good. That's fine. That's fine. Anyway, guys, William Grenville, 17th, I think, is the art stream.
Yeah, that's right, 17th, yeah.
All right, come and look at that, boys. On Wednesday next week, our traditional British Christmas stream, which I think might surprise some people in ways.
Oh, sorry, 16th, Duke, 16th.
All right, 16th for the art stream. Looking forward
Tuesday,
to that.
16th. Yeah.
Who are your guests for that, William?
Well, both of us, Aaron Hook, Nathan Hood, and Alexander Adams.
Yeah, and Alexander Adams is a actual
Professional,
genuine artist.
He's
So,
a professional artist by profession, author, publisher, magazine, art critique. I mean, he is very much the real deal. I mean, we're just blokes on the internet who get drunk every now and then. He's like he's the real
he's
deal.
actually an artist. Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, that will be good. And also, I must
Sorry.
say to guys, tomorrow, I think it's tomorrow, Mitch will be on Apostolic Majesty stream for the second of his 3 Japanese history streams. And the first one was excellent, by the way. So do check out that. All right. All I'm getting is silence, as always. Okay. I'm going to play us out of a tune, all right? If it plays. We'll see if it does. There you go. Hopefully it'll play. It may not, guys.
With silent grief oppressed, Britannia mourns her hero now at rest. But those bright laurels ne'er shall fade with years, whose leaves are watered by a nation's tears. In Trafalgar's Bay, we saw the Frenchmen lay. Each heart was bound in vain. We scorned the foreign yoke, for our ships were British oak, and hearts of coming. Honest and mocked them on the wave. 3 cheers our gallant seamen gave. No thought of her beauty, no thought of her beauty. On the line the signal ran. England expects that every man this day will do his duty. This day will do his duty. cannons roar along a frighted shore. Our Nelson led the way, his ship the Victory named. Long be that victory famed, for victory crowned the day. But dearly was that conquest bought, to where the gallant hero fought. For England, home and beauty, for England, home and beauty, he cried as midst the fire he ran. England shall find that every man this day will do his duty, this day will do his duty. At last the fatal which spread dismay around the hero's breast received. Heaven fights on our side, the days are on, he cried. Now long enough I've lived, in honor's cause my life was past, in honor's cause I fall at last. For England, home and beauty, for England, home and beauty, ascending life as he began. England confessed that every man that day had done his duty, that day had done his duty.
Okay, that was from Patriotic Archive. Member in my Discord, good friend of the channel, has great music. Go and check him out. Patriotic Archive is really good. I've also discovered we have 2 entropy chats. So before you guys go, you can answer these. The first one is from Rud Three Trees for $5, and he said, it's weird calling them Nazis. That's like calling the British the National Coalition government. My granddad referred to them as Germans. Was Hitler any worse than Alexander the Great? Oh, you guys are saying all this right as I'm typing it. Carry on. Okay, first comment. Any comments on Rud Three Trees super chat?
Sort of addressed it right back along, but yeah, I mean the emphasis on that is as I say, I think it's just, you know, used as a it's used as a propaganda piece, because whenever they do films or something about Nazis, it's sort of referencing not really the historical version. It's just like this abstract modern idea, really. So yeah, but yeah,
totally agree with you, William. Anything you want to add to that? Sorry. Anything you want to add to that, Aubrey Alley?
No, thank you.
Okay. We've also got a $15 super chat from Rud Three Trees. Thank you very much, sir. And he's saying, evening, lads. Just finished Camp of the Saints, which is a pretty well-known book. What are your thoughts on the predictions made in that? Used to work in Siberia and got with a girl. Her grandparents loved the USSR. Well, if she was in Siberia, they probably would, because, you know, they used to be part of Russia. It still is. I guess for your average person, it would have been okay. Doesn't sound like my cup of tea. Don't quite get what he's getting. I don't quite get what you're getting at there, Three Reese. But William, anything to say?
I've the Camp of the Saints is about that French novel, isn't it? About third Western
Yes.
civilization, but sort of third,
Yes.
mass immigration. Yeah, I mean, if that happened, who knows?
You'd
Maybe some.
You'd be better off dead if that happened, I think. But you know,
I mean, it's kind of like that. If it was like the world was ending in nuclear I mean, yes, something will still be borne out a bit. If I was to guess, if it got to that stage, I think you would see. I think you would see native peoples of Europe doing armed resistance at that point. I think if it was on
hope
that,
so.
like,
Hope so.
yeah, you'd have to be, wouldn't it? There'd be nothing else for it at that point. So yeah.
Well, you're either going to die one way or the other. And
Basically.
are you going to let your daughters be raped and killed first?
Well, exactly. Yeah. I mean, and you'd be hunted down. Yeah, exactly. So
you
if
might
it got
as
to
well
that,
fight back. Yeah, yeah.
I mean, at that point, yeah, in that fictional world, which is what happened there.
Yeah, totally agree. Aubrey Alley, anything to say to that one?
No, thank you.
All right then. Well, I guess we have come to the end of our last stream for 2025, and it's gone on 3 3/4 hours, so it was a long stream. But yeah, all I would say, guys, is our views on this stream never change. They're always the same. We may express them slightly different.
Everything I said on here was a parody.
Yeah, me too, William. Particularly when I said anything about the Holocaust, because obviously that is the worst thing that has ever happened in the world by any human people.
Yeah, no, I believe whatever the British government believes.
Hang on, William. And by the way, I do genuinely detest it. Like the worst thing you can do, as far as I'm concerned, is killing women and children. I really hate it.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, yeah, I honestly, yes, of course, it happened. I'm looking at there's what is it, a photo of Romanians in 1941 rounding up them into a hole and shooting them. I mean, yeah, of course yeah, of course it happened. Of course it happened.
But you're not going to find almost any British guy who thinks that was a good deal, right? British guys don't shoot women and children. That's why the British Empire was the best empire in the world ever. Because by and large, we didn't shoot women and children. We don't like that. It's a British thing, you know?
Yeah, it's the savagery that goes on is terrible. It's terrible stuff that happens. Britain was a good force at its time.
Yeah, and we didn't kill women and children. Instead, the Royal Navy used to get like sailors and Royal Marines killed, breaking up African slave bases, and then they would get more British Royal Navy sailors and Royal Marines killed, taking over slave ships, and then we'd get those slave ships and send them back to Africa and release all the slaves. this is the British deal, guys. You will. I've never met actually a single British man who was in favor of killing women and children. Never met one ever in my entire life. So, get real. Get real. I've met British guys, including myself, by the way, who were quite happy to kill our enemy soldiers. People who were trying to kill us, we'd kill them back. Never met a British guy who wanted to kill women and kids. Never have, not in my entire life. And I suspect, even if I live to be 100, and there's no chance of that, but if I did, I don't think I'd ever meet one. So yeah. Thank you very much to my guests, Adam, Mitch, William Grenville, and Aubrey, and also crazy. I can't remember the guy's name now.
Tharian.
Thank you. So thank you to my guests, Adam, Mitch, Tharian, William Grenville, and Aubrey. And you know what? The Brits are not the worst people in the world. We're probably one of the best people in the world, if you think about it. But you know what? Even the best people in the world can be pushed too far. And modern Britain is going that way. Anyway, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Come and join us on Wednesday for our traditional British Christmas stream. And otherwise, I guess we'll see you next year. And don't let the bastards grind you down.